What's up, Touchdown Tribe? We're back again, y'all. We're going to be covering the Ryan Clark, finishing up on that video. We'll also get into a video that Pooh Man sent me. Shout out to Pooh Man, greatest mod in the YouTube streets. I see that he's already in the building, but shout out to you. You sent me a video from the Do Better podcast on Malika Andrews. So yeah, we're going to get into that one. What else do I have on the agenda? We'll cover the college football schedule because I really didn't get to go in depth with everything like I wanted to, and like I said, we still haven't even finished that Ryan Clark video, so that's one we got to finish, and also cover Cam Newton as well. So lots to get into, but let's go ahead and play the intro.
I don't think Kalen DeBoer can do that.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, just going based off of what we've seen, it's just not there. I have to see it to believe it. And, you know, I know you've been critical of his interviews, and rightfully so, because I don't think he handled that with confidence whatsoever.
No, and listen, it's like the thing with Sankey yesterday. You don't need a transcript to hear what somebody said. If you look at the transcript of Kalen DeBoer on Wednesday, he probably covered every base and said everything correctly. It's just the energy that he did not bring. And I want a coach to stand up there and display confidence. I don't hear that from DeBoer. I feel like DeBoer it's like, remember when you were in the 7th grade play, you memorized the script and you're up there trying to remember every word. I want to see real energy, real authenticity about what he believes. I know what a good coach he is. I've seen that. He makes a difference on Saturday. But how is he energizing that football team? And we had Damian Harris on the other day, and I realized he played 10 years ago for Nick Saban, but he was describing what his friends, the former players, are saying about DeBoer, and that's a bad sign when the former players, in many ways, and I'm sure they'll call up and say this isn't correct, but I'm telling you it is, are tuning out on what DeBoer is representing.
Yeah, and I can speak on that because I watched Ty Simpson on Down to Business podcast with Caleb Downs, and Ty Simpson even said that the coaching wasn't there against Indiana. So he's even kind of spoke on his thoughts with DeBoer compared to Nick Saban.
Chelsea, very well said.
You say, whatever you do, I can do better. All right, here we go. No bend in the elbow. No bend in the elbow. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's only after. Well, let's go then. I never seen that. I never seen that. Hold on. Ain't no bend in the elbow. Like that right there? No. Both toes. Put your toes on the ground. No bend in the elbow. Hey, Joe, go ahead. Oh, now, Ray. Don't break your wrist. Raise yourself up. Now, bend in your elbow. No. Bend in your elbow. Wait, how your hand was? Like that? Flat on the ground. Like that? Yeah. And you just lift it up? I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life. Oh, you want to your elbow bending, huh? You can't bend your elbow. I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't know what type of exercise. You cannot bend your elbow. But I've been doing like now.
So everybody done had at least one coach or teacher with anger issues. But wait, what the hell going on? Coach done blew a gasket. Blood pressure pushing 200 over too damn high. Looked like the player wasn't where he should have been when he was supposed to be there. But he tried to sneak on the field. Too late for all that. Head coach got a drive-by warning. I'm about to get in his ass. Well, Mike, let's simmer down a bit. No! Get out! Having to walk past after be the worst part. So I'm running. Maybe if I move fast enough, he'll forget. Only thing he forgot was a damn weapon. He chased Paulie D all the way to the sideline. Teammates trying not to be next. Hey, man, chill out. Number 24 barely looked back. I ain't see nothing, coach. I'm trying to play. All other coaches unfazed, except Ricky Rose. This is his favorite show. Making the coach mad to the point where they want to fight is crazy. He almost tore everything in his knee to get to Andrew. Top tier rage bait pop up like an Xbox achievement. The shortest player on the team, the only one stepped in to help my man. I just know he was calling him all type of pansies and mother lovers and finished it off with you're uncoachable. Face on lobster red and he just gonna walk off like ain't nothing happened. Huck, spit on your chain. Yo, bitch ass don't want no smoke. All right, give me 5. No, that's okay. Give me a hug. Man, ain't nothing going right in New York. Woo! Alan Murray never beating them Tyler allegations. What do you have? It's about what you do. Put it on his body. Trevor Lawrence waved him off. He's tweaking, folks. I'm sick of this shit. You gotta be kidding me. Got my first win? Yes, I did. Got my first win? No, you didn't. That is unbelievable. Losing ass African American. Hey, you fucking bitch. Fuck you. I'm like that for real. You sure is. You gotta be fucking kidding me? King cocksucker. You cut the mother sucker. This how you do it, nephew. Another spit shine in Pittsburgh. Oh yeah, you done messed up, J.A. Ma. Fan want all the smoke. Come on. Come on. Bruh, how I missed the ball right in front of my face. Don't be screaming in my fucking ear. Their guy threw a punch. Sir, no one threw a punch. Bullshit. Between these chapsticks. Both ladies in the background. Should we call the cops? Had to swing on his head coat. Say something else. He missed it? Indeed he did, my boy. It's over.
He grabbed booty. I tried to keep it together.
You're good.
He did. I mean, there's not much in it there. That's an obvious call. And
Jones? Lamar, there was that point in the season where you guys lost 3 straight, 4 or 5.
Mike Jones. Mike Jones, that's it. Mike Jones, that's it. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right.
What keep you motivated though? Because like people like you don't ever get tired.
Tired of what? Money?
I climbed all the way to the top of the Empire State Building for one reason: to get as far away from that Tennessee orange as possible.
I can still see that ugly orange from up here. Should have climbed higher.
Man, I hate Tennessee because first of all, it's Tennessee. And I just hate them because they low down, they dirty, they some snitches. And I hate Philadelphia, I hate their colors. I'm not a dog person. I just hate Tennessee, man. Like, and I hate Naylor Stadium. It looks like a garbage truck worker convention. And I hate all their quarterbacks. I hate Tennessee, man. It reminds me, it's not that orange that you can stand. See, I hate Tennessee more than I hate Auburn. I just dislike Auburn. I hate Tennessee. Tennessee's colors is that throw-up orange. It's not that orange you can sit with. It's that puke inside of pumpkin orange. And I don't like pumpkins. So I really don't like Tennessee, man. I can't stress that enough, man. And they losers. They sore losers because they're not Alabama. And I hate Tennessee, man. I can't stress that enough. I hate them.
Their quarterback is impressive. I mean, his ability to just escape and make plays on the run, I mean, it's just outstanding what I've seen. And just the defensive side of it as well. They're definitely going to be a concern for me going forward if Alabama doesn't get their offensive line straightened out.
Chelsea, that's a great point.
Obviously, with what I observed the past few seasons, with the defense like missing basic fundamental skills like the open field tackles and those issues, I know they slowly improved those elements over the season, but just not enough when it matters in big games like against Indiana.
Thank you. That was really fantastic. Really do appreciate that.
All right, Touchdown Tribe, we are back, and I want to give a special shout out to the International Quiet Storm. He hit the Cash App at the end of the show, and it was dear to funny moment because I was talking about the quote from Remember the Titans that I always say, we will be perfect in every aspect of the game. Except for this, I say we will be perfect in every aspect of this live stream, of this show. But he hit the Cash App, and I just want to acknowledge that once again and give him a special shout out. So shout out to you, International Quiet Storm. Shout out to the International Quiet Storm for being a playmaker on yesterday's live show. Also, speaking of that quote, guess what I added, y'all?
We will be perfect in every aspect of the game. You drop a pass, you run a mile. You miss a blocking assignment, you run a mile. You fumble the football, and I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts. And then you will run a mile. Perfection. Let's go to work. We will be perfect,
y'all. Let's go to work. Starting off with some drops for my favorites. Shout out to y'all for being here. But we have the greatest mod in the YouTube streets. We have Pooh Man in the building. Shout out to you, Pooh Man.
Rolex wearing. Woo! Diamond ring wearing. Woo! Kiss stealing. Woo! Wheeling dealing. Woo! Limousine ride. Woo! Jet flying. Woo! Sucking on a gun. Woo! And I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. They give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo!
The the show could not function without the greatest mod in the YouTube streets. So shout out to Pooh Man. We also have G Honda in the building. Talk about no Steelers intro. Listen, I'm the captain of this ship. This is my show, G Honda. Okay? I'm the captain of the ship. I don't know when you're going to learn this.
I'm the captain of the ship, cuz. Slow down. I am the captain of the ship now.
I am the captain of the ship, okay? This is my show. My intro is what I want it to be, not your show. But shout out to you, G Honda. Let's play your drop, okay?
Who the fuck could that be? What does his weird ass want now? What's up, Gaston?
Shout out to you, G Honda. We also have Eric Jordan in the building. Shout out to Eric Jordan. Let's see. Let me find your name in this chat. Okay. Oh, CDT Beats showed up. You know, gotta shout out my music producer. CDT Beats, I also got something to tell you, by the way. But shout out to you, Eric Jordan. You're part of the CDL gang.
Hey, boy, do it to it.
Shout out to the CDL gang. Now let's find your other drop, Eric Jordan. And Eric Jordan, I like your drop because, again, it comes from Remember the Titans, and y'all know I love that movie.
Why are you fumbling my football?
My blockers were built.
Your blockers ain't got nothing to do with you holding the ball. Did your blockers fumble the football or did you fumble the football?
I did, sir.
All right, how many feet are in a mile? How many feet are in a mile? 5,280 feet. You pick this ball up, you run every one of them. You're killing me, Petey. You're killing me.
You're killing me, Petey. You're killing me. Shout out to you, Eric Jordan. Before I get to CDT Beats' drop, I know that we have Jesse in the building. Let me find your name, Jesse. Here we go. Shout out to you, Jesse. Let's play your drop. Let me see. Here we go. Shout out to you, Jesse, for being here. Okay, now let's play CDT Beats. And I also got something to tell you, CDT Beats. So, I can't remember the discussion I was having with somebody last night, but we were talking about, like, our favorite music producers. And I said, well, he's no CDT Beats. And he was like, Chelsea, it's not a competition. And I was like, you're right, it's not a competition because CDT Beats wins regardless. I was like going all out about it. I was like, okay, you say it's not a competition, but just so we're clear, CDT Beats still wins. Anyways, here we go. Let's play some CDT Beats. Shout out to you, CDT Beats. Y'all, he'll be live later. And I'm telling you, I better see all y'all at his live. I don't care if it's just for a second. I better see y'all drop a headphone emoji in that chat. I'm looking at everybody in this chat. Jesse, G Honda, let's see, Pooh Man. I know Pooh Man will show up because he's the greatest mod in the YouTube streets. But I'm looking at all y'all. And if I don't see your names in CDT Beats' live, I'm going to be on your case. Like I said, we will be perfect in every aspect of this live stream. And part of that includes y'all showing up for CDT Beats, okay? Let's see, where's that drop at? Here we go.
We will be perfect in every aspect of the game. You drop a pass, you run a mile. You miss a blocking assignment, you run a mile. You fumble the football.
You drop a pass, you run a mile. And trust me, not showing up to CDT Beats' chat, that counts as a drop. That counts as a fumble.
Ball. And I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts. And then you will run a mile. Perfection.
Let's go to work, y'all. Let's go to work. Okay. Oh, yeah. I got to... And CDC Beats, by the way, he said he'll be live at 8. But I gotta play the Touchdown Tribe National Anthem, y'all. So, all rise for the Touchdown Tribe National Anthem at the Chelsea Dome.
On the Star Spangled Banner, Fergie.
That our flag was still there.
Somebody time G Honda out. Somebody time G Honda out for saying this. Y'all, I'm telling you, I better see G Honda get timed out. Because what the heck, G Honda? You're getting benched already during the game. During this show, you're getting benched. CDC Beats, time G Honda out. Time him out right now. Okay, I'm not having that. Not on my show. I don't know what you think this is. Wow, that's foolishness right there. Don't get me started, G Honda. Don't get me started. You getting benched for that one, though. You getting benched. Let's see. I gotta get it off this chat. I gotta find another chat, okay? Done. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to you. Jesse, he said done. You ask, you shall receive. Okay, let's play the motivational video. It's gonna be Kobe Bryant again, y'all. Did I change it? No. But I ain't mad about it because I like this quote from Pooh Man. He sent me this one.
The consistency of work. Monday, get better. Tuesday, get better. Wednesday, get better, right? And you do that over a period of time, you know, not like 1 month or 2 months. I mean, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And then you can get to where you want to go.
Truth, consistency. It takes time to improve and get better. Trust me, I know, doing this live streaming on YouTube, I've learned a lot. So consistency and hard work will get you where you want to go. But shout out to Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace to him. All right, let's get into this show because let me tell you, I don't even know where should we begin because it has taken me forever to get through this Ryan Clark video. And I don't even remember where we left off at, if I'm being honest with you. I'm going to fast forward, see if I can refresh my memory on things and see where we left off. But I'm telling you, it's been a lot of commentary every time I hear him speak. But I'm going to do a little recap, okay? So for those of you who don't know, Ryan Clark and Peter Schrager had a disagreement on ESPN. Now, this clip was from 10 months ago, but people were saying, like, having this clip floating around, claiming that he got fired over this. Y'all, I'll reiterate it multiple times, but Ryan Clark did not get fired solely off of that, okay? He didn't get fired over his comments about his opinions on the Dallas Cowboys. That was not the case, okay? So we can squash that. The main reason why Ryan Clark got fired was, according to ESPN and other outlets, that since ESPN bought the NFL Network, they had so much talent, so much staff, that they couldn't keep everyone. And part of the firings and the layoffs was Clark and obviously Cam Newton, among others. But let's go ahead and get into this clip from Peter Schrager and Ryan Clark.
This morning, are you feeling, okay, you look at A.J. Brown, which is this number one wide receiver who got one target all night, and then you got CeeDee Lamb.
But that's the, when was the one target?
That's the target,
But
though.
I'm saying, when was the one target?
I'm saying you could have it both ways.
54 seconds left in the game on 2nd and 11. It was the one target. He runs the out route.
You wake up this morning saying A.J. Brown
has
had a better day than CeeDee Lamb?
You know what you wake up saying, though? A.J. Brown's team is 1-0.
Of course.
Right, like that's what
I get it.
Now, again, this clip is from like 10 months ago, but people are claiming that this is what caused him to get fired. Y'all, if they wanted to fire him over that, they would have done that 10 months ago. He didn't get fired over this, okay?
This, though, and we shouldn't do this on TV. And so I apologize if people think this is rude.
Now, this part had a slight impact on his firing. These are comments that he's made over time that kind of caused a lot of controversy, and he preferenced it with an apology before he even got into the comments. So it kind of already shows you he shouldn't have been saying it in the first place. But within 2025, I told y'all there was 3 separate incidents where he made comments that were inaccurate and had to make a public apology on ESPN. Now, that had an impact on him being fired. It did not help his case, okay? Now, was that the sole reason why he got fired? No, but it did have an impact, because you cannot have a job like that and expect to keep it. And even Ryan Clark said himself that he got to a point where he just didn't think it was possible for him to be fired. And when you get in that mindset of thinking you can do no wrong and continue to get away with things, even if you make it a public apology, eventually your time's gonna run out. But anyways, here we go. Here's the issue.
That's the non-player.
Oh, stop. That's no. CeeDee Lamb is.
Let me tell you why. I'm not saying.
I'm not looking at fantasy football, Ryan. I'm not. Don't belittle me like that. I could come in and say, as 3 ex-players are saying one thing, and give an alternative perspective that maybe CeeDee Lamb did play well. And
Peter, what I need for you to do is not get mad and let me finish for one.
Okay, go on.
It wasn't about you. It was going to be about me.
Okay.
As a player, I can't speak for CeeDee Lamb. I'm speaking.
Y'all, do I agree with how he said that? No. I don't agree with that. I don't think you should be making comments like that. You can be someone who didn't actively play in the game and have a different perspective. You can have a different view of it. You don't have to necessarily play the game of football to have knowledge about the game, okay? The only thing, and I said this before, the only thing that's different is the fact that you look at the physicality. Could I speak on what it's like to be hit by a defensive lineman like Will Anderson Jr.? No, I could not. I could not tell you what that is like from personal experience. I can tell you it can't be easy, but I don't have that personal experience, right? But that doesn't mean I still don't have something to offer when you have knowledge of a sport, okay? So I didn't like the fact that, Ryan Clark belittled him like this. And I've been belittled. I've been belittled before, and I've spoke on this not too long ago. I don't like that. I don't like it one bit. But anyways, let's keep going, because Pat McAfee, whenever he was on his show, his live show, he took shots at Ryan Clark whenever he had Peter Schrager on. And here's what Pat McAfee had to say.
Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who's an Emmy Award winner. His name is hot in the streets right now.
Hell yeah.
As it should be, because he's so damn talented. Ladies and gentlemen, never played ball. That's been made clear. But he's certainly good at talking about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Schrager. How you doing, Schrags? Good to see you, brother.
Pat McAfee was stirring the pot when he said never played football, but he's certainly going to talk about it, and then introduced Peter Schrager. Now, I said this in a previous live stream. Peter Schrager did not address this. He kept it pushing. He said that he enjoyed Nick Saban, who was on prior to him coming on, and he just kept the show moving. But he did not acknowledge what Pat McAfee had to say in that introduction, which I think was very professional of Peter Schrager. So there's that. Now here's another comment. This is the most recent one. Ryan Clark was hyping up the Dallas Cowboys. Now, a ton of Dallas Cowboys fans, I've seen them acting foolish, making claims Ryan Clark got fired because he was hyping up the Dallas Cowboys. Y'all, chill out. It's not that serious. I promise you, Ryan Clark did not get fired because he was hyping up the Dallas Cowboys. If that was the case, Stephen A. would have been fired, okay? Stephen A. has spoke more positively about the Dallas Cowboys himself. Now, he's still skeptical, of course, but even he has made comments like he thinks that they could improve, right? Ryan Clark did not get fired over this.
Are the Super Bowl expectations realistic for the Cowboys this year?
You know what? They are realistic this year. You go get Christian Parker from the Philadelphia Eagles. He understands how to keep the top on the defense, not give up the big play. And you're expecting someone like DeMarvion Overshown to be exactly what we saw him ascending to be before the injury. We watched him play a little bit last year.
There was no issue with this. Ryan Clark, based it off of facts, based it off of information given, like what we're seeing from the Dallas Cowboys. So he did not get fired over this. Anybody with a brain, like many analysts are talking about the same thing Ryan Clark was talking about. Y'all, he did not get fired over this. I'll reiterate it again, okay? Ryan Clark, according to ESPN, was fired over the fact that ESPN bought the NFL Network. They couldn't keep everyone on staff. They had to do layoffs and firings. And part of that was Cam Newton and Ryan Clark, among others. And this has been going on for years, y'all. The past few years, I mentioned the story from like last year where Pat McAfee saved a ton of jobs because ESPN was going to do big firings, and Pat McAfee stepped in and said, hey, well, I'll pay their salary if you keep them on staff. Like, I'll take care of it, and we can just keep them. And ESPN, they were like, well, we can't have you doing that. That kind of looks bad on us, so we'll just pay their salary and don't worry about it. We'll keep them on staff. We can maintain them on staff. Now, I don't know if they're still there, but during that time, Pat McAfee saved those jobs. So this has been going on for years. But anyways, let's play LC's drop because LC is in the building. Shout out to you, LC. Shout out to LC. Who else? We got Matt in the building. Shout out to you, Matt. Good to see you here. Matt, I need to add a drop for you. I don't know if I put it in my notes. But I see you snuck into the building. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, you said salute, Coach Chels. Let's see. Do I have a drop for you? Let me go through here. Because I added some new ones. But I don't know if I have one for you yet. Just let me know your favorite team or what you would want your drop to be. Yeah, I don't see one for you. Alright. They just had to fire a Super Bowl champion. Yeah, well, most of it's over his comments, G Honda, because you had the Kyron Lacey incident. You had, y'all, I forgot to download that clip too. But you had the Kyron Lacey incident. You had the incident with Robert Griffith. Is it Griffith or Griffin? Robert Griffin Jr. or, the third or whatever his name is. But you had that incident, and then, I can't remember the other one. I want to say there was another analyst that he got into it with, but I can't remember who. But then you factor in the Peter Schrager one. So there's just separate incidents where he had to make public apologies, and it wasn't good. Like, that's not good. Ryan Clark shouldn't be doing that because a Hall of Famer can come up to him and say he don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, that's true. Also, Peter called 3-4 Super Bowl champions in a row. He knows ball. Yes, Matt, that's another great point. Thank you, Matt. Matt, that's definitely a good point because he's actually, Peter Schrager, I talked about this before. He's actually the most accurate when it comes to his predictions. Now, I don't know if he was right last season, but his NFL draft picks, like his fantasy draft lineup, is usually the most accurate. His picks for the Super Bowl are the most accurate. So he is a more accurate analyst for predictions, which is impressive. And he never played the game. This is what you get when you have somebody who's looking at it from an outside perspective, who was analyzing the game, looking at every little detail, versus a player who's just playing one position on the field. Well, yes, they know the playbooks, they know the ins and outs of what goes on with the team and everything. They know a more personal relationship with the game of football, but from an outside perspective, like as far as analyzing, you got to give it to Peter Schrager. Chelsea, the same thing happened in 2016 with a Pittsburgh player, insinuating same dude, it's recorded. Okay. Lots of comments here. All right. Oh, what's up, Pinball? Good to see you in the building. Let's play Your Drop before I get started. Y'all, I promise we're going to get started. We're going to get through this today. I'm determined. I'm determined to get through this today. Let's see. Pinball. Here we go. Shout out to you, Pinball. And you're part of the CDL gang, obviously.
Hey, boy, do it to it.
We got the CDL gang in the building. We got Eric Jordan and we got Pinball, so shout out to them too. All right, y'all. Let's play this clip from Pivot. It's actually not a clip. It's a video. I don't even remember where we left off, y'all, but we
To have that taken away.
skim through it. I want to say it was like maybe at the 17-minute mark. I don't know for sure, though.
2, I didn't deserve to be handled that way. So let's get ahead of it. And they were going to get ahead of it by leaking it to someone who they know hated me.
Okay, yeah, we discussed this. We discussed how I agree with him on this because, like I said, ESPN, they were, obviously, they bought the NFL Network, but they had claimed there were leaks coming out that Ryan Clark was going to be fired. So to get ahead of it, they said that they wanted to tell Ryan Clark when he was on air during a break, during a commercial break, that he was being fired, obviously. So they didn't want him reading it in a news headline that he was being fired, so they were going to get on top of it. Obviously, Ryan Clark didn't buy that. To be honest with you, I don't buy that either. He thinks that somebody inside the building made that leak so this was to happen and have it play out this way. It's a dirty business, okay? I'm telling you. I think I would probably agree with that. Obviously, we don't have no proof, but knowing how the business is, I don't put it past them. So that is what it is. Ryan Clark was never even an All-Pro, so many safeties can pull his card, let alone any Hall of Famer. Now, I will say this, Matt. I like Ryan Clark. I do respect him. Do I agree with everything he says? Of course not. But I do respect him. I do like him. I'm not going to discredit his talent. I think he was a talented athlete. I believe he played for Nick Saban at LSU, if I remember right. I'll double check. But I have respect for Ryan Clark. So I don't want to discredit his talent. But yeah. There's that, okay? There's that.
Bro, how could this be that thought out when they just asked you if we could all, as a crew, come on First Take in August? That don't make no sense. When I saw it and how they did it and how outspoken you are about the community and how, like you're talking, some people don't agree with your stances and don't like that you were that open on their platforms. To me, it seemed like it was almost like buck breaking.
Slavery term.
You know, where you're the outspoken one, you're alpha. Let's embarrass him so everybody else gets in line. So nobody else talks crazy to us anymore, goes to emails or whatever.
I double checked. Ryan Clark did play for Nick Saban at LSU. I thought he did. I just wanted to be sure, double check, make sure I'm right on that. So I don't give y'all the wrong information, okay?
Like, no, let's teach him a lesson. Let's embarrass him on national TV so that they all line up.
Yeah, I think that could be part of it, you know? Like, I also know that this was a private company. They get to make their decisions based on what they want to make them on what they want to do. What I do know is they didn't take a vote. This wasn't about the majority, right? This wasn't about the people I work with day to day, because my phone don't say that.
And this is why it goes back to executives, it goes back to producers. I mean, I'm sure some of the producers had a great relationship with Ryan Clark, but there is so many inside that ESPN room, right? You've got the cameraman, you've got makeup artists, you've got, the executives, you've got, the executives, they're not always in the building, but you have different levels. You've got the producers, there's just so many. You've got the assistants to the producers, you got so many in that room, right? And I'm sure, some of them have great relationships with Ryan Clark. I'm sure some probably didn't have the greatest, but I'm interested, this is what I'm most interested in, is some of the producers, because I wonder if anyone found him difficult at all. Obviously, I don't think Peter Schrager, from an outside perspective, I don't think Peter Schrager was the biggest fan. I don't think, let's see, who would another one be? Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee obviously didn't work side by side with him, but there's that clip floating around with Ryan Clark on the Pat McAfee show, and so you can kind of see, there's times where he says things that's a little out of pocket, but I don't know, y'all. Let me read some of your comments, because I seen one from Matt. You said, did they not think Ryan Clark don't have Twitter on his phone? LOL, you can see him check his phone in his last segment. Yeah. I think, obviously, they know what's up with that. That's why they wanted to break the news to him. I don't know if it was out as far as being on Twitter immediately. I think the leaks, when they say leaks, you can have different types of leaks, right? You can have leaks that are getting ready to come out, the time of when it's about to be released, and so you're wanting to get ahead of it and say, hey, this is coming out at this time, and by the way, you're being fired. So there's just different elements to it. Let's see, what else are y'all saying? At the end of the day, ESPN is just gonna pay a famous person to do what he does, not to take away from his talent as an athlete, but that's what they do, and that's the truth. People do not vote who is fired. Network executives and owners make hiring and firing decisions. Exactly, Elsie, exactly. Cam Newton got hot, they signed Cam. Shannon Sharp got hot, they signed Shannon. Pat McAfee got hot, they signed Pat. Yeah. Pat McAfee, he's a different beast, though. Here's what's different with Pat McAfee, and I've talked about this before, but Pat McAfee is brilliant, and here's why. Pat McAfee is one of the ones who not only is on ESPN, he has his own podcast, live show, the Pat McAfee Show, aired on ESPN, but he also has his YouTube channel, right? So he's generating multiple sources of income. The Pat McAfee Show is he has his own production team. So he's really, really brilliant with it. Some of the others who are like this are Omaha Productions with the Manning brothers, the Manning family. They have their stints on ESPN, but they also have their own production team that sources many podcasts like the Mina Kimes Show. Mina Kimes also on ESPN, but she's also signed to Omaha Productions. What's the other one? Oh, Club Shay Shay. So many people don't realize this, but Club Shay Shay is a production business. So Shannon Sharp has Club Shay Shay, Nightcap. He also added Debo and Joe, their podcast, to his lineup. So that's another one that's brilliant. Obviously, he's not on ESPN anymore, but he was another one where he was on ESPN and he was also generating income from his own production. Those guys are brilliant. All right, y'all, I gotta keep it pushing because we know I get to chatting.
Production people who ain't worked with me in 5-6 years. Thank you for how you treated me. Thank you for the laughs. Thank you for your professionalism. Thank you for showing up constantly. Monday night. Thank you for always. If we didn't have any talent on a meeting, you were always there. You were always on time. You were always building things for the other people on that set. Thank you. And so when the people you work with cry for you, man, that means the world to me. When I get the messages of like the fact that I supported you, the fact that I was there for you means the world to you. Like it gave you the legs to stand up and be who you were on TV. Like that matters. This was a dictatorship. A person or a group of persons, very small group. They didn't poll the majority. Yeah. They didn't ask that question.
Y'all, they didn't have to. Here's what's. You can say it's unfortunate, but you can also say it's justified. I get it. Either way. But they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to have like this voting for his job because the executives, they looked at his performance. His performance was the problem. They look at, hey, in 2025, you had to make 3 public apologies on major incidents where your facts wasn't completely correct, or you were out of line saying some things. That's what they looked at. Now, do I think he should have been fired over some of those things? No. Do I think it should have been handled differently? Yes. I'm torn. I think it's justified, but at the same time, do I think he should have been fired? No. But he definitely, and it's like he said himself, he got to the point where he was like, in the mindset of, it would be impossible for them to fire me until it happened. And when you get in that mindset of, you think you're invincible, it causes a problem.
Ask that question. Now you got to say, even though you told me just how important he was, I don't care. I don't care. I know how important you think he is, and you work with him every day. I don't care how important you think he is. I don't like him. People like me don't like him. They keep calling my phone. I don't want my phone to ring no more. Right? There's other things I'll defend. I'll defend talking about another executive.
No big deal. I'm just glad you're in the building, ear hustling. Shout out to you for that, Philly Tide.
Defend that. I'll defend sabotage. I'll defend getting sued. I'll defend all those things. What I'm not gonna defend is you standing up for Angel Reese and everybody being mad about the way you did it, or about what you said about, I'm not gonna defend that. No. I'm not gonna defend you standing on 10 toes for them all the time. It's not what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna take those calls. And that was the decision that was made. And I believe that has a large role in why it was made.
Bro, we know how much you love.
Here's another thing, Jesse, and I talked about this the other day, but there's show producers, right? There's show producers. You have an earpiece in your ear, and your show producers will be like, hey, cut to this information. We need you to say this. We need you to emphasize on this certain topic. this needs to be said this certain way to draw controversy or ratings or what have you. So there's things that Malika might not necessarily say if it wasn't for her show producer saying it in her ear, telling her to say these things. You also have the teleprompter up on there telling you what to say. Now, is that the case 100% of the time? No. But when you see people reacting the way they do about, oh wait, you said neighbors. Do you mean Malika Andrews? I'm trying to think of which one, because I'm thinking, I've seen the most talks about Malika Andrews. Yeah, I think you mean Malika Andrews. But anyways, if that was the case, then she would, let's see, I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? Y'all get the point, hopefully. Y'all get the point. Okay, yeah, you did mean Andrews. Okay, yeah, like it's not all on her, is what I'm trying to say. Like, there's certain things that is said to her that she has to say on air. It's not necessarily her own thoughts, but to draw in ratings and viewers and to get people talking, they make her say some out-of-pocket things. And it works, because look at how many people cover her. So many people can't stand her, but they still talk about her. They still draw in ratings because people are tuning in to see, hey, what out-of-pocket stuff is this girl gonna say today? So they keep her. They keep her for that very reason. I think in Ryan Clark's case, what was different was some of the things that he said was more serious. Okay? It was causing issues with some former athletes, obviously some analysts that he works with, and he also made comments on legal matters like the Kyron Lacey case. And at the start, I think he was kind of insinuating that Kyron Lacey was guilty, and they made him make a public apology, to which he said on NFL Live, I thought what was a beautiful statement, that, you know, he misspoke on a few of the facts, and that the details of the case was the state trooper coerced a witness. There was video evidence showing that Kyron Lacey wasn't even in the vicinity when the wreck occurred. So there's just a lot of things that were a problem for Ryan Clark. But I'm going to get into Malika Andrews. I have a video from the Do Better podcast with Theo Coop that Pooh Man sent me. We're going to cover that after this.
Of what you do and how hard you work and how passionate you are. And we've seen numerous occasions where we've had opportunities on this show to make X amount of money, and you help us understand that it's not about the money.
Exactly, LC. You said you have to be careful what you say on air or the network could get sued. And I think that's what possibly was a concern for ESPN. They looked at some of the things that Ryan Clark was saying, and they seen it as a potential risk. Andrews has done that so much. ESPN can't use that excuse. Why? Why is that, Pooh Man? Like, why can't... Like, what excuse are they using? Like, what excuse are you referring to?
It's about the quality of the work that we have to put out and the lives it's going to touch. So we agree with you. It's not about the money. It's never been about that. It's about your job and simply what you love to do. But when you text me, like all the other people you spoke about, I said, man, this man lying. April Fools, it ain't even April. I didn't believe him, but I didn't want to respond that way because it caught me off guard. And I was like, ain't no fucking way these people are that stupid to do one of their best, but people like that. And I ain't saying that because we rock, but I just know what it is. But even then, you know, I started searching the internet and trying to figure out, like many people might be, like, what happened? Like, what's going on? Like, is this a Netflix doc situation? Like, what's
okay,
really
we'll
going on?
get into it. And I can add, Coop is the great thing about Coop is he's usually really thorough. Obviously, I can add a little more perspective on it, probably just because I know people who work inside ESPN, and obviously I work with I've done things with the ESPN affiliated radio show, so I can speak on a few things about the business, but I'm interested to see what you mean by that, Pooh Man, because it is, like I said, it's a business. Y'all gotta understand, this is a business. They have to say things to draw in ratings. If they're just talking about cut of the run, cookie cutter, mess, it doesn't get people talking. It doesn't draw in the ratings. But when they have Malika Andrews saying some out-of-pocket things that her show producer is telling her to say, it draws up the ratings. It gets people talking. You have people like the Do Better podcast with Theo Coop making reaction videos to what Malika Andrews is saying, and the cycle continues. It's all a method to get people talking, to draw in ratings, and it works. It works. So, from a business standpoint, I get it. I get it. Do I agree with it? Do I agree with what's said? Of course not. But I do understand it's a business.
And we've been hearing reports about, you know, the disagreement with Peter, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to pit you and Pat against each other. And so many other things people are trying to stir up and figure out what's going on. Like Chan said, like they're looking or waiting for a scandal, right?
Yeah.
But it's simpler than that.
Oh yeah, it's no scandal. Let me be
Hey,
very
shout
clear.
out to you, Matt. Yes, you have Talking About Radio. Shout out to you.
I love Pat McAfee. I think what Pat McAfee set out to do really put in place a blueprint for a lot of us. Like, can we do it and be accepted or received?
What have I been talking about? Everything that I've been saying, he's talking about. I talked about the best to do it. You look at Pat McAfee show. You look at Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp. You look at Omaha Productions with the Manning family. They are people who have a production media team with podcasting and branching out, like having others signed to their business, as well as being on ESPN. Obviously, I said Shannon Sharp's no longer on ESPN, but he is somebody who did both. He made bank off of both. And trust me, he ain't hurting. Like his team, his media production team is growing because he just signed Debo and Joe to a podcast. Like they're signed to Club Shay Shay. If you go to Debo and Joe's podcast, you will see the Shannon Sharp logo on there. Okay? But people like this, it's the move. Like, that's the business these days. This is why I say everybody who works at ESPN really needs to have a backup method. Like, here I am, y'all, with my own little show now. Because I'm trying to do the same. I'm trying to get in on this action. So we'll see what shakes and bakes. But y'all gotta help me out. Y'all gotta subscribe. We gotta move the chains on the YouTube field. I need y'all's help. I can't get there on my own, team, okay? Can't get there on my own. I want to take y'all with me on this journey. So make sure y'all subscribe.
At that level, at that amount of money, probably not. He's an anomaly. in that way, but I respect and admire what he's built so much.
Right.
Peter Schrager, like me and Peter don't have an issue.
Here we go. We get into Peter Schrager. I don't know. I would have to see Peter Schrager speak on this, y'all. We can't speak for Peter Schrager from an outside perspective after what went on. There is obviously some sort of tension. Now, can that be squashed? Of course it can. But, you know, I need to see Peter Schrager speak for himself, say, hey, I don't have an issue with this guy. Like, I can't just take Ryan Clark at his word. There's two sides to every story, and I need to know Peter Schrager's side. Y'all, I showed you that intro from Pat McAfee show, where Pat McAfee took shots at Ryan Clark, saying, reiterating the comments that Ryan Clark made about he never played ball, but is certainly going to talk about it. Peter Schrager, and Peter Schrager joined the show. It's things like that. It's like, I don't know. Like, I need to know Peter Schrager's side of the story.
Right? I would think if you'd ask him right now, obviously after what went on with us, there's been nobody that's nicer to him. And I do want to address that as well.
Now, keep in mind, I've been saying from the start, that wasn't the sole reason why he got fired. Do I think it had an impact? A slight impact, obviously, but that wasn't the sole reason why he got fired.
In the last season, that was when I met with the executive and said, hey, look, I can only see one reason why you'll have a problem with me, because it's not my work. And I get my schedule. I'm supposed to work Thursday, Friday on Get Up and First Take. I fly in on Wednesday night. That's what my schedule says. So I fly in on Wednesday night. I never get an email. I never get a text message. Normally you get that about the production meeting. I don't get that. So I wake up in the morning and I was like, well, you know, I'm not working. I'm texting, hey, am I off of it? And I cut the TV on and Taylor and Will are on, which, like, I'm happy for them. Them boys worked hard to get that opportunity, right? Go do your thing. But I was upset because, wait, you can't call me and tell me that the schedule's changed? I don't deserve the respect of believing that this is my schedule? And along with some other people, we built Get Up. That junk was dying. Your original idea didn't work. So it was Dan and it was Marcus and it was Culture Wednesday with me and Dominique. That's why that show lasted to be what it is that you turned it into now. And the people who I built that with, y'all just couldn't call me and just tell me, RC, we made another decision. And I asked, man, and another thing I'm mad at myself, I begged and begged to be back on that show because it meant so much to me that we built it.
Took Ryan Clark off of Get Up. I think he was on like a few times as like, you know, guest analyst work, but I didn't realize they just took him off there completely. Like, they're always moving guys in and out, but I didn't realize that.
And to be on it. And he just kept telling me, people aren't doing both shows. Dan's doing both shows all the time. Yeah. Damian Woody's doing both shows all the time.
Yeah, see? You see a lot of Dan Orlowski on everything. Dan Orlowski, you will see him on Get Up, you will see him on First Take, you will see him on NFL Live News with Dan Orlowski, Laura Rutledge, and then they'll have, you know, Ryan Clark was even a guest on that, and they had Marcus Spears. Now, Marcus Spears kind of took a little bit of a step back because of his kids' athletics. His daughter I think she's still a student playing volleyball at Texas for the Texas Longhorns, and then his son is getting ready to start college soon, so he took a little bit of a step back. So this is interesting, y'all.
Peter Schrager's doing both shows all the time. And so I'm already feeling something. And you go into that Friday, and Greeny had said, and Peter had exchanged a couple of times that neither one of them ever played. And we're talking about CeeDee Lamb, and I tried to be very thoughtful in the way I approached it because I wasn't trying to say you don't have an opinion because you didn't play. I was trying to say you have a different opinion because you didn't.
Nah, y'all, I ain't buying that. I ain't gonna lie. Ryan Clark, I'm not buying that. Because I've had people belittle me, and it was a man, try to belittle me and say things like, oh, well, that's cute. Like, when I'm giving my sports opinions and say, oh, that's cute. Like, you get also making comments like, it's easier for you because you're a girl. You can draw in a lot of viewers. I think I was like baffled by this, y'all. I have an issue with that. When people try to belittle you and make you less, and it comes from a place of their own insecurity. They see you as a threat. I don't like that. Do not belittle me. Do not discredit my work based off my gender or anything else because you see me as a threat. Okay? Like, we're not doing that. And I feel the same about his comments towards Peter Schrager. I don't think it should have been said the way he said it. Because Peter Schrager, like, I don't even know if there was a nice way of saying, like, a more polite way of, like, reiterating that. Like, I think it just was what it was. And he felt the way he felt. That, hey, you didn't play the game, so your opinion really isn't that valid. I think he truly thought that about Peter Schrager. And I can't get behind that. Don't discredit somebody. If it was a different topic, I would understand. Like I said, if it was a topic about the physicality of the sport, saying comments like, talking about getting hit by Will Anderson Jr. I can't speak on that. I don't know what it's like to get hit by Will Anderson Jr. I don't know what it's like to put on the cleats and strap on the shoulder pads and step out onto the football field. I don't know what that's like, right? Like, I don't know what goes through an athlete's mind. And every athlete's different with how they react to things, but I can't speak on it from a personal level like that. If it was a topic on that subject, I would be more understanding. But the fact that this was just simply analyst work discussing two different players, I can't get behind that comment. I just can't do it. Chelsea, apparently Skip Bayless is going back to ESPN. I've heard talks of that. Oh, Skip Bayless, he's another one. He has his own podcast, and obviously he was on FS1, previously on ESPN. But I've heard talks about him going back. I don't know I don't know in what capacity that would look like. I think obviously they had him on for a short stint, but I don't know. I haven't looked into any of that. But yeah, since he brought his name up, he's another one. He has the Arena podcast. Now, I don't know if he has his own production company, like Pat McAfee Show, Omaha Productions with the Manning Cast, and Club Shay Shay. I don't know if Skip Bayless is at that level with it, or if he just like has his own podcast. But anyways, moving on.
Play. And maybe I didn't get that across in the right way, right? I can accept that. But then he raises his voice at me. He's like, don't belittle me and this and this. And in the moment, I'm like, I'm on TV. I'm not finna have that back and forth. Let me be calm. Let me de-escalate this. And let me truly explain what I mean.
Ryan Clark, that is just not good. Like, do you hear what you're saying though? Like, it was bad enough to where you had to de-escalate the situation because Peter Schrager was standing up for himself. He said, hey, you're not going to belittle me just because I didn't play the game. I can give my analysis on these two different players with their stats and have a valid opinion about it. It's not a good look to me.
The in-helmet perspective is different than the out-of-helmet perspective.
Y'all see what I mean? See what I mean? He has that mindset of, you know, if you can't have an opinion unless you played the game. Keep in mind, the topic was on analyzing these two different players, AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, and going over their stats and based off of the first game. It had nothing to do with the mentality aspect. Like, the conversation wasn't involved with that. I can't get behind the comment.
So we get in the break, man, and I walk off, right? Because I'm upset, because I'm knowing what's going to happen, because he said I belittled him and he raised his voice at me. And he's like celebrating the segment like it's a great segment. But I'm already knowing the person who loves you don't love me, and they make decisions here, and we just...
Jesse, you said it all. I'm not gonna lie. Jesse, you said it all. He just ratted on himself with what he said. Truth, Jesse. That's such truth, because look at this. What did he say just a few minutes ago? He said, and I quote, that if you were to call Schrager up, I think he would say that he don't have a problem with me. And then you get into this, and now he's saying that Schrager was celebrating that segment. Like, he thought it was, you know, great. But Ryan Clark, he was in fear, because he knew what he said probably cost him his job. And he even said himself, the people that like Schrager don't like him. This is why Ryan Clark never should have said what he said. Peter Schrager wasn't the problem here. Like, you have to have some accountability, Ryan Clark. I'm not gonna lie, you really need to have some accountability here, because it wasn't Peter Schrager that was the problem. It was your comments about him not being an athlete and he can't give his thoughts, his analytic thoughts on the game. Like, that was the issue. You belittled him, and that was the problem. I don't think he's handling it the right way, y'all. I think he really told on himself right there. I do. Where are we at? 2606. Let's play a little funny little thing right here. Let's see what I got. What do I got? Hey, it's all right. It's all right, Ryan Clark, because I know players mess up. Players mess up all the time.
Players fuck up. Players fuck up all the time. I was pissed. Players.
And you know what, Ryan Clark? It's just business. Don't take it personal. It's just business.
Half of the shit I tell you might be the truth, half but it might not be, man. This shit business, man.
It's just business, y'all. It's just business. Oh, man. But I'm telling you, I think Ryan Clark was a little out of pocket for a lot of the things he said.
Out of pocket for that shit. Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that?
All right, y'all. Let's get back to it.
To have that taken away.
Where was I at? Y'all, I don't even remember. I think I was at 20-something. Let's see.
Seen numerous occasions where we've had opportunities on this show to make X amount of money, and you help us understand that it's not about the money. It's about the quality of the work that we have to put out and the lives it's going to touch. So we agree with you. It's not about the money. It's never been about that. It's about your job and simply what you love to do. But when you text me...
Of believing that this is my schedule, and along with some other people, we built Get Up. That's your... And so we get in the break, man, and I walk off, right? Because I'm upset, because I'm knowing what's going to happen, because he said I belittled him and he raised his voice at me. And he's like celebrating the segment like it's a great segment. But I'm already knowing the person who loves you don't love me, and they make decisions here, and we just had that happen. And while he's celebrating,
Like, if you
I'm just telling him, like, man,
that
like,
they
don't
like you, why did you say it? Yo, why would you say something like that if you know if those executives don't like you? And like I said before, he knew what he said was a problem because he even preferenced what he said with an apology. He said, I'm sorry for how this sounds. I don't mean it to be rude, but that's the non-player in you. That's what he said to Peter Schrager. So that tells me he automatically knew from the start that what he was saying was a problem because he preferenced it with an apology first, and then he got into his little dig at Peter Schrager. You can't do that. And like I talked about, the man already had 3 incidents where he had to make public apologies in 2025 alone. More than any of the other analysts, y'all. I'm telling you. You can't be a problem for them. Because of course they're going to get rid of you. Now, do I agree with everything? No. But Ryan Clark, he should have cleaned up his act. I will say that. He should have cleaned up his act. If he wanted to keep that job truly, he should have played by the rules. Because you're going to get fired. I don't know. Ryan Clark, I'm starting to feel like you're a dum-dum, okay? You're a dum-dum for making comments like that, knowing that that executive didn't like you. Okay? This is how I feel about it.
You dum-dums.
That's how I feel.
to have that taken away for whatever.
Let's get back to it, y'all. I get triggered and I have to stop and give commentary every 5 seconds, it feels like. But we getting through this either way, y'all.
Happened. Yeah. And while he's celebrating, I'm just telling him, like, man, like, don't effing disrespect me like that. Because I'm knowing what's going to happen. Now, at this point, I'm standing.
Oh my gosh! Y'all, the plot thickens. The plot flipping thickens. I was not expecting this. He said to Peter Schrager, hey, why'd you disrespect me like this? What are you talking about? Did you not hear yourself with how you were speaking to Peter Schrager? Sir, what are we talking about? Hold on. I gotta rehear this, y'all. I got to make sure I heard him correctly, because what the heck?
Happened. Yeah. And while he's celebrating, I'm just telling him, like, man, like, don't effing disrespect me like that. Because I'm knowing what's going to happen.
While he's celebrating, while Schrager was celebrating the segment, Ryan Clark is having a pity party. He's like, hey, don't disrespect me like that by celebrating. What do you mean, Ryan Clark? You're the one that made the belittling comments in the first place. You're the one that got yourself in this situation. Y'all, I can't get behind this. Do I think he should have lost his job? No. And like I said, this wasn't the sole reason why he got fired. Do I think it had an impact? Obviously. But the main reason was ESPN bought the NFL Network. They were having to do firings and layoffs, and part of the one who got fired was Ryan Clark. He was a victim of that. But when you look at his work, when they were looking, I'm telling you, the ESPN executives, they took a look. They said, hey, who can we cut that has been a problem for us? They looked at all the public apologies that Ryan Clark had to make in 2025 alone. They looked at all the disagreements he was having with some of his coworkers, like Peter Schrager, and they said, hey, I think we can cut our losses with him. But Ryan Clark, I don't understand. I can't comprehend why you were upset and why you feel disrespected after you're the one that made the disrespectful comments to Peter Schrager in the first place. Y'all, this is why I have such a problem with that. Not only that, it's like I said before, how are you going to say, like a few minutes ago, that if you were to call Peter Schrager up right now, I think he would say that he don't have a problem with me. How are you going to make a comment like that and then follow it up with this right here? And let me just say this. I think Ryan Clark knew what he was doing when he said what he said, because he knows that Peter Schrager still works for ESPN. He knows that Peter Schrager can't make comments directed towards Ryan Clark, most likely. And so to stay face, like, you know, he's not going to be getting wrapped up in this. He's not going to be making comments on Ryan Clark. So we're not going to hear Peter Schrager's side of the story, but I'm telling you, there's two sides to every story. And since I don't get Peter Schrager's side, I don't know if I can believe Ryan Clark on this. Let me see what y'all are saying, though. As long as ESPN has Andrews, people will never give ESPN the benefit of the doubt. He built Get Up. No, they said, get the F off. Jesse, you are hilarious. Would y'all say that the hot take era is done at ESPN and RC fights that category? No, I still think they have to have hot takes. Because look at Stephen A. They still have to have hot takes to bring in the ratings. It's just when you are having little belittling comments like Ryan Clark makes, and then you're also making inaccurate statements that doesn't line up with the facts, that's when it becomes an issue. I can only imagine watching a movie with you, Chels. What do you mean by that? I don't know what you mean. Like, are you talking? Tell me what you mean by that. Tell me what you mean by that, Matt. There goes his sports analysis career. ESPN was looking for a reason, and RC gave him one. Yep. Get Up would not be what it is if not for Ryan. Yeah, you know, that can be true. Two things can be true. He can be the one that brought it up, but he can also be the one that's causing problems. And so now they have to get rid of you. 4 Emmys won by himself. He will be okay. Yeah, and honestly, y'all, it wasn't by himself. Those Emmys were a group effort. So it wasn't solely him. Like, he can't take the credit for all those Emmys. It was a group of people that won those Emmys at ESPN. Brian, let's see what you said. Oh, Brian! You're a new face. I don't know if I know you. Welcome, Brian. Welcome. Let's see. They're still paying out. He's $2 million contract. The $2 million contract that he signed. Okay.
Now, at this point, I'm standing over here, right? I've gotten out of my chair, which is 2 away from him. I'm standing over there. And obviously, they recorded and they showed me the video. And I'm talking to people who've been there for 12 years, man. And they like, we thought you were going to get aggressive. What?
What did I tell you? Y'all, what did I tell you with how the business is? I told you it's dirty. I told you they're trying to bring in the views. This is why I say Malika Andrews has people in her ears. She has executives telling her what to say. Like, when you don't do things a certain way, they're going to, like, review it, like, during the breaks. They're going to review what you're doing, and they're going to say, hey, you could have done this in this moment. I thought you were going to do this. What did they do with Ryan Clark? They wanted him to be more animated to what Peter Schrager was saying. It's a business, y'all. They're trying to draw in the views. You got to take certain things with a grain of salt. Now, are they going to report on a lot of the facts? Absolutely. Okay? There's going to be facts there. But there's also going to be a side of the business where it's a little played out. Like, you get these animated reactions, you get these hot takes, them saying certain things, doing certain actions to draw in the ratings. And this is why I know people don't like Malika Andrews, right? I get it. Do I agree with everything the executives or not executives, but the producers the show producers there tell her to say, want her to do? Of course not. But do I understand it's a business? Yes. And here's the example right here. Now, I do agree with Ryan Clark on this part. Ryan Clark's saying, hey, you know, during the break when I went on my side and they were reviewing the video with me, showing me the playback, and then they said, hey, I thought you were going to get a little bit more animated about it. Because what does that do? It gets people talking, it gets people reacting, and it gets the ratings up at ESPN. I'm trying to put you on game here, okay? I'm trying to tell you how the business goes. So, there you go.
The person you've been knowing all this time who never did anything, who's never had an altercation here, was gonna get aggressive from over there? So now you're trying to paint this angry black man trope of me that you know is not true, but I'm starting to feel the narrative. I feel what you're doing.
I don't like that. I don't like that when, especially for somebody who is black. I don't agree with that. This is why I say I don't agree with everything the producers tell these analysts to do, or these hosts like Malika Andrews. I don't agree with it because there's, you know, like there's no sugarcoating it. Like there's just certain races where they should not be saying certain things because it paints them in a certain light, and then people are going to be saying, like, painting him as like the angry black person. So I do kind of get where Ryan Clark is coming from on this. Like, if his demeanor was calm with how he was going to react to it, and I do believe that, now, do I think Ryan Clark should have said what he said? Absolutely not. But do I think he did the right thing in his tone staying calm and being calm when he was responding? Absolutely. I think he did the right thing with that. And for ESPN, for whoever the show producer was, he said that show producer worked there for 12 years. You know, I can't name names. I don't know exactly who that was, but I might be able to find out. But whoever that was, who told him, like, hey, I thought you were going to get a little bit more angry there. Shame on you. I don't think that should be done. Just to draw in the views. I mean, I get it, it's a business and everything, but you have to be careful when you are painting somebody like Ryan Clark in a certain way.
The phone and people are telling me you gotta work better with people. Work better with who? Everybody I work with loves me. Like, real talk. Everybody I work with, they F with me the long way.
Now, I don't know about that. I don't know. That's a huge building. That's, you know, a lot of people working at ESPN. I don't know. Even with the firings and the layoffs, there's still a lot of people at ESPN. I don't know if everybody can say that they truly liked Ryan Clark. Some of them might have tolerated Ryan Clark, but I don't know if every single one of them liked Ryan Clark like that. Nobody likes everybody that they work with.
Like, I ain't the best teammate. Hell, Jason Kelsey called me just to tell me that. And so I was just seeing the narrative that was being pushed and seeing the way it was going. And then even that, much like what happened with Outkick with my firing, they leaked that video. And when they showing me this video, it's the video from the control room. So if that's gonna get released, that's somebody that works for us.
Yeah.
Right, you've been here 12 years, you have this incident, I want people to know that about.
This goes back to everything I've been telling y'all. I've been telling y'all about the business, okay? You know, somebody who, like, has done guest radio work with ESPN, and, you know, I know people that work inside that building at ESPN. Like, I've been telling y'all how this plays out, how this goes, like the ins and, like, some of the ins and outs of it. And sure enough, I told y'all, I said from the start, I said, hey, I don't know if I believe that this leak was from other sources. Like, I kind of had my speculation of this might come from inside the building. And sure enough, here we are. Y'all, ESPN might not ever let me back on that radio. I'm just kidding. They will, because, and here's why. Look at Stephen A. Now, the radio could get shut down. I'm not saying that the radio is gonna live forever, y'all. But look at Stephen A. His comments that he says off of ESPN, he even was defending Ryan Clark. He was going against, his thought, like, how ESPN handled everything. But he still gets to keep his job at First Take, right? So, there is, a freedom of speech element to this. And I even have in my little banner that my thoughts and views does not reflect my employers. This is the same thing that you will see from Pat McAfee as well. So, y'all, I think I'll be okay. But, yeah, it's a very real thing. What's up, Tiffany? Good to see you in the building.
You. I'm getting calls. We got the video. The video's been leaked. We're gonna show this.
Oh, Tiffany.
And honestly,
not Tiffany, but Elsie, I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. So no problem with that. What's up, Logan? I didn't see you sneak in here as well. Shout out to you, Logan. I'll play your all's drops in a little bit. I'm trying to get through this video.
I was trying to keep my job at the time. I should have told him, show it. Show him that he celebrated. Show him that I walked away. Show him that I was a 46-year-old man that said the F word from 15 feet away from somebody. But me and Peter talked. Yeah. Me and Peter fixed that. Me and Peter had the conversation. Me and Peter moved on.
Like I said, he's speaking for somebody else. I don't like that. I want to know Peter Schrager's side of it before I go believing Ryan Clark. Do I think Peter Schrager is going to give his side of it? No, because Peter Schrager still has his job at ESPN. ESPN probably doesn't want him making comments on Ryan Clark right now. So he's kind of stayed silent on it. But I think it's interesting. I want to hear Peter Schrager's side.
Right? And what I wanted to do from him, from that point on, because I heard what he said, I never wanted to make him feel that way, whether intentionally or unintentionally. So anything he wanted to do on TV, any point he made, any conversation he wanted to have, I was gonna have it with him. I was gonna support him. I was gonna be a good teammate, because that's what I did for everybody else. And that was unfortunate, but that's not why I'm fired.
You're a stand-up guy. You've always preached accountability.
What did I
Looking
tell
back
y'all?
over your...
I told y'all from the start. I said he did not get fired over those comments. Do I think it played a minor factor in his firing? Of course. But the sole reason was, according to ESPN, that they had obtained the rights to the NFL Network. They had so much production team and everything that they had to make layoffs and firings. And someone who was a victim of that was Ryan Clark and Cam Newton. Now, like I said, do I think it had a minor role in it? Of course. I do think that was a factor, a small factor in him being fired. But was that the sole reason? No.
11 years at ESPN?
12.
11, 12. Is there anything you would do differently, or do you leave knowing that you were fully yourself, or, what are your thoughts, man?
That's a good question. It depends on when you ask me. Like you asked me.
Tiffany, and this is exactly what I talked about, Tiffany. I said that ESPN is a dirty business. A lot of people don't like Malika Andrews, but they don't have an understanding of the fact that this is a business. They have producers, show producers who are in their ears saying, hey, we need you to do this. We need you to say this because this is going to draw in ratings. Like, this is a hot topic right now. We need you to react this certain way. We need you to be more heated on this because it draws in ratings. It gets people talking. You'll have crazy reaction videos and it just keeps the cycle continuing. So, it's the truth. What you said, Tiffany.
Like, when I see people in public, like OGs and like aunties and stuff, and they tell me they proud of me, and they proud of like
Yeah, Tiffany, and this is why I've told a lot of people, like, I've said this from the start. I said, pay attention to how things are being done right now. Because I brought up the Pat McAfee show. I said, look at Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee has his own production team. People know that he has his show rights on ESPN, but he's also on YouTube and other social media platforms. And as well as having his own production team. So people can sign to be on a podcast with him. Similar to Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp. Club Shay Shay, people don't realize that's a production. And he has Debo and Joe signed to Club Shay Shay. They have their own podcast now under Club Shay Shay. If you go to Debo and Joe podcast, you will see Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp's little head logo in the corner. That podcast is owned by Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp also has the other show, Nightcap, with Ocho and Joe. You look at the Manning family. They have Omaha Productions. Omaha Productions is on ESPN. You have the Manning cast with Peyton Manning and Eli covering certain games on ESPN2, as well as some of their own little shows that air on there. But that's their, like, they have their own production. They have Mina Kimes signed on to one of their podcasts, the Mina Kimes Show, that's operated by Omaha Productions. So they're really smart with it. Now, I don't know if Pivot will expand like that. I think it does have the potential to do that, but right now Pivot, as far as I know, Ryan Clark just has the Pivot podcast. He doesn't have his own production rights. But anyways, let's keep it pushing.
And they probably like the way.
Now, Tiffany,
I
will say
represent the
this.
community.
I don't agree with everything Ron Clark did. I don't. Do I think he should have been fired over it? No. Like, I don't think he should have been fired over just the fact that ESPN bought the rights to the NFL network. I don't think he should have been a name that should have been fired. But I do have an understanding of why they did it, because he has said some out-of-pocket things that wasn't factually true, and he had to make 3 separate public apologies within the 2025 season because he said some incorrect things. You had the Robert Griffith incident, you had the Kyron Lacey incident, and then there was another one too, but I can't remember which it was, so I just talk about the Peter Schrager incident. But you know, those were just things that I think was a minor factor in him being fired. But I think he was a talent. I thought he added a cool little swag to the show, so I'm sad to see him go, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I wouldn't change anything. Because that means the world to me. You know, or like, when I go home, and this kid, you know, from the West Bank is like so accepted in New Orleans now. Like, I wouldn't change that. You know, never. You know, like, all I ever wanted to do was be accepted. You know, and want it. So yeah, like that, I wouldn't change. You know? If you ask me, probably the first, like, Monday of football, when all my friends...
Yeah, Tiffany, I agree with that. I made comments about that myself. I said, hey, because I can be a sensitive person, right? And I've had people tell me, hey, you need to be less sensitive. And I said the same thing. I said, I'm not going to change who I am to appease anybody. I said, God made me a certain way. Like, you know, people have to have compassion, and there needs to be people with compassion and sensitivity in the world. So I'm not changing who I am to appease anybody. And I'm glad I stood up for myself on that too. I am, because, you know, the old me probably wouldn't have done that. But the older I get, the more I stand up for myself. And that's one thing I'll stand up for myself on now. But exactly, Tiffany, never change who you are. I don't care who you work for. Yeah, don't change who you are to appease others.
Get to do something like we did, like, super special together. Yeah, I'd probably change it. You know, I'd probably work harder
Tiffany, I will say this. I did catch Ryan Clark contradicting himself on a few things in this. I will say that. And I pointed it out. I pointed out where he contradicted himself on a few things. But again, do I think he should have been fired? No. I thought he was a talent. Y'all, he had this one special, and I'm curious to see what happens with this. But he had this, I don't even know if I want to say it. I might not say it. I ain't gonna lie, I might gatekeep that. But he had this one little special where he covered a certain topic, and I'm gonna be interested to see who that's handed over to, or if they will continue with that. I'm gonna be sad to see that part go. So
be who they wanted me to be, or like build relationships with like bosses or executives, you know, because like it's just a relationship game. Because like I just see these people on TV who like aren't better than me.
Now, Tiffany,
but I know
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I get what you say. Like, he is brilliant, regardless. He is brilliant. So I get what you're saying with that. The only thing I'll add is some of the other, he was, when Peter Schrager stood up for himself, I'm glad that Peter Schrager did that, because you can't make belittling comments like that. Somebody who didn't play the game of football from an outsider's perspective can give analytic work and be correct on what they are saying. They don't have to play the game of football to have this knowledge according to the stats and the proof of their track record, right? You can just look at that information and be accurate with what you're saying. And I don't think that Ryan Clark should have made the comment of, that's the non-player in you. Because, and this is something that Matt, I believe, brought up, but Peter Schrager is actually one of the most accurate when it comes to predicting who wins the Super Bowl. He's also been the most accurate in fantasy draft. So Peter Schrager knows what he's talking about. And I don't think Ryan Clark should have belittled him the way he did. And I think that, and even Ryan Clark said himself that he got to a point, like he got in this mindset of he just almost felt like invincible, like, you know, him being fired could never happen. And that's a dangerous place to be in, because you start making reckless mistakes like he did. And I also said this, that it would be different if the conversation was about the physicality of the game. Like, obviously, somebody can still give their thoughts like, hey, you know, just observing it, those are some difficult hits, right? You can observe the game and see that. But speaking on it from a personal perspective, I can't, me nor Peter Schrager can say what that's like. We don't know what it's like to get hit by a Will Anderson Jr. So from a personal standpoint, that's a little bit different. Like, if it was on that subject, I would understand, but I don't agree with belittling Peter Schrager the way he did.
We've been at the tables, they've been accepted at. So yeah, you know, there's some things I think I would do differently, because I feel like I let them win. You know, I feel like there's a group of people, a faction of individuals who wanted to like devalue my voice, who wanted to take away
I agree
platform.
with him on that. I do believe that. Y'all, I'm telling you, I keep saying it, but it's a dirty business. I do believe there's people who wanted to, you know, take away his voice and, you know, almost silence him in a way. Like, I do think that part's true.
Like, I let him win, you know? But then there's the other side of it of like, my platform isn't as big anyway, or it's not as impactful anyway if I don't do those things. If I'm not that person, if I'm not authentically me, right? And it's not even something I can prove that if I was different, they wouldn't have fired me. I can't prove that.
Tough.
Right? So if I can't prove that, why? I would have hated to be fired being something I wasn't. Oh my gosh, that'd be the worst. Young, man, like my kids, like, they love me.
Again,
you know?
I think some of his comments was a minor factor in why he got fired. I talked about it over and over again, but I'll reiterate it one more time. The Robert Griffin incident where he, you know, he made some statements that he shouldn't have. The Kyron Lacey incident where he made inaccurate statements, that was bad. He had to make a public apology on that. Then you have that Peter Schrager incident. Some of that was, you know, that was not good, okay? But factors like that plays a part.
I felt like I let him down.
Never.
You know, like, regardless of how much like money I was able to save and all the opportunities I was given, that's why I'm so focused on like the other people who lost their job. It's like, this helps us, right? My kids get to live a certain way. I get to take care of my parents. I get to help, you know, my brothers and my brother and my nieces and my nephews and so many people, because like I'm in a place to where I can have excess because of what I can do so good. And to have that taken away, you know, for whatever it is, if I could have been different in some ways, probably, you asked me on the right day, yeah, I would say I have some regrets.
Sacrifice ain't cheap, man.
I know, you know, the thing, it's like, the thing I just told you I loved comes at a price.
Yep.
Right? I love them both. I loved my job.
Let me just say this. I think Ryan Clark will be just fine. I think Ryan Clark will hopefully get another job with another network, maybe NBC, Fox, or CBS, I think Ryan Clark will be just fine. Regardless, he still has Pivot. I'm interested to see if he ends up expanding Pivot into something else, like adding, you know, more podcasts onto it. Hey, Ryan Clark. Hit me up if you want to add someone. Like, if you end up expanding Pivot, let me know if you want to add my show on the list, okay? Let me know. Call me, okay? But anyways, I'm interested to see, you know, what happens with that. But regardless, he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. I think eventually he'll get signed to another network. I think Pivot is obviously big. You know, I am subscribed to Pivot. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. What's up, KJ? Good to see you in the building.
We know.
I love talking football. I love studying it.
Amen to that, man. He's speaking to the heart right here, okay? I love football. I love watching it, talking about it, everything. Like, I'm constantly rewatching old games, like analyzing it. Anything to improve my knowledge on football is what I always try to do.
I love educating people on it. I love making people laugh about it. I love entertaining people. I love the people I work with. And I love my community.
Hey, I got a drop for this, y'all. We're at 34-12. I gotta remember where I'm at. 34-12. Let me put it this in the chat. I don't know if Pooh Man's still here, but 34-12. Okay, I got a drop for what he's talking about though. Let me see. It's under the coaches. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. This is my love for football, y'all.
I love guys who like football. And guys who like football, they like me back. And I like them back. And even guys that don't like football, I mean, they try to avoid me because I'm always trying to get them to like football more.
Hey, I'm always trying to get people to love football. I'm always trying to get people to love sports in general. So if you're interested, subscribe to my channel, okay?
To have that taken away for whatever.
Shout out to you, Pooh Man. Thank you. 34-12 is where we're at. Let's see.
Entertaining people. I love the people I work with. And I love my community. It doesn't mean I don't love them all. It just means, like, that's the one in particular. I could speak from a matter of perspective.
You would still have one if you let the other one go. In my opinion, if you stop talking, if you stop doing, you know, racial justice stuff, if you stop talking about Angel Reese, if you stop talking about Lakes, if you stop doing that, you could still be doing football. Am I wrong?
Probably not. I do know.
I don't know. I have
that
to
when I was
with that because people like make claims, hey, ESPN's too woke, but then under the same breath, they'll talk about how, you know, certain things fly under the radar. I get it. But it is something that I'm torn between. It definitely goes on regardless.
Negotiating this contract, I sent a message about how hard I was working to get this deal done.
That's another factor I didn't mention. You know, I talked about ESPN buying the NFL network and how that was a major factor because they had to make layoffs and cuts. Not everyone could keep their job, and Ryan Clark was obviously one of the ones that was fired. But another thing was his contract.
And how grateful I was they had given me the opportunity to work at ESPN.
Now see,
and the message I got.
This is where I don't know if I necessarily agree with him. Because if that was the case, Tiffany, Stephen A would be fired. Because Stephen A makes comments too. And Stephen A's been outspoken on some things. He's also said some out-of-pocket things that I didn't agree with. But he's one that's made comments, and I have a difficult time thinking that if that was the case, if that was the reason, then Stephen A would be fired too. Stephen A wouldn't be there. So I don't know how much I agree with that. Because they even have, what's his name? Damian Foxworth on there. Is it Fox? Yeah, I think it's Foxworth. So he's even made certain comments too. You also have Marcus Spears. Marcus Spears has made certain comments like that. So I think if that was the case, then they would all be fired. So I don't know if I can solely blame it on that for him. Yeah, Tiffany, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And even, I think he says some out-of-pocket things just about the, community. Like, I don't agree with him on some of the things he says. But that's Stephen A for you.
Back was along the lines of, well, you'll be good if you're here, you'll be good if you're not. It wasn't you got some things going on, let me fly out and come talk to you face to face, that he's done for other people. So I think this company in a lot of ways has been showing me, and finally now, here we are. I had a conversation over the summer with Jeremy Lin, of all people. Kerry Chow, used to work at ESPN, good friends with Jeremy Lin, called me. He's like, hey, can I give Jeremy your number? He wants to talk about getting into business, and you the best I know. You the blueprint. Okay. Having a conversation with Jeremy, he says, what's a piece of advice you can give me? I said, build relationships. I said, because you're going to need somebody to stand up for you sometimes. I said, don't think the work is just enough. And I said,
that is 100% true. Build relationships. I'm telling you. Y'all know my music producer, CDT Beats. Shout out to him. I have him playing in the background. But that's someone that I've built a, YouTube street workplace relationship with, right? And I have his back, he has mine. Like, there was someone trying to speak on his name and I wasn't having it. Like, I stood up for him. Like, I can't get behind that. And I'm glad I did that, because I would want someone to stand up for me in that way. And that's what it's all about. That's why you build these relationships. That's why you build these bonds with people in the YouTube streets or in the, workplace, wherever wherever you work or whatever you're doing. Build those bonds, because you're going to need people in your corner who are going to have your back.
If it's not a part of your being, don't let people know where you stand socially or politically. If you don't feel like you have to.
Oh man, this is another part where I don't know if I agree with him. Like, it kind of seems like he's making out like he lost his job because of speaking on culture. And like I said, if that was the case, then Stephen A would be fired. We all know Stephen A is a very political person. He's made numerous statements on ESPN about this same subject. I've also heard Marcus Spears speak on things. I've also heard Foxworth speak on things, especially when you had Tyreek Hill in that fiasco. If y'all remember the fiasco before the Miami game where Tyreek Hill was put in handcuffs and how that blew up, they were speaking on that. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with him on that part. I don't think that you know, I think it had more to do with him making inaccurate statements. He was speaking freely, he made inaccurate statements, and he had to make a public apology and a correction on what was said. And in journalism and broadcasting, you will lose your job if you don't make those. I mean, absolutely in journalism. You can forget it in journalism. If you have an incorrect statement printed in journalism, you rarely get a second chance. I mean, I've studied this. Like, you rarely get a second chance in journalism if you print something that's not factual. Broadcasting, it can be a little bit more lenient because you can make a public apology. You can say, I spoke incorrectly on something. You know, I didn't have all the facts that were given to me. So that's a little bit different. But I'm telling you, he had 3 separate incidents where he did this, and that was a problem for him. And I think that's where it became an issue. Anyways, let's keep it pushing.
Stand up for people. That's not what's popular. That would put you in a space of the minority. That would in some way make you a threat. Then don't do it. If your job is more important than those things, just be quiet. Because if you do, there could be opposition.
Again, if that was the case, Stephen A. would be fired, Foxworth would be fired, Marcus Spears would be fired, because they've all made political statements before. So, like, I just heard, and I'll give you an example. This was from SEC Media Days, because we just had SEC Media Days, right? And this was from SEC Media Day. You had Pete Thamel on, and Pete Thamel spoke on the political stance of where college football is today with NIL, transfer portal, and everything going on with that. He's, you know, had to speak on a little bit of politics. That can play a part in it. So I don't know if I really agree with Ryan Clark on what he's saying. I don't think, it just seems to me like he's making out like that was part of the reason why he got fired, and I don't believe that to be true, because again, if that was the case, others would have been fired. Now, he has a great bond with Stephen A. Like, Stephen A. even said himself, and early, like, this was like, I think part 1, this is basically turned into a series, but part 1 of this series of my live stream was when Ryan Clark said that, or he was asked the question, could Stephen A. have saved your job? And Ryan Clark himself said no. And I agree with Ryan Clark on that. But he said that he has a lot of respect for Ryan Clark, or not Ryan Clark, but Ryan Clark said that he had a lot of respect for Stephen A. And Stephen A. even reached out to him, said that, hey, I don't agree with how ESPN let you go, but just know that you will have an open spot on my show, and that's yours for the taking if you want it. So I don't know, like, and we all know how political Stephen A. is on and off his show. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings towards that.
If you don't have the right relationships, you won't get through it. And I was like, and I'm dealing with that right now, man. I was like, I don't know if I'll be working in the fall. And he said, you? He's like, you the best in the world. He's like, there's nobody better than you. And he goes, and in 2026? I said, in 2026, brother, that's where we are. It's just been so many things like that that I think I look back on throughout this situation, and you wonder if it could have been different.
Man, RC, I was trying to figure out who was going to pass who the tissue. I think all of us are crying.
That was a tough one.
Yeah, I didn't expect
it. Was tough.
I expected anger at RC. I ain't gonna lie. I expected you to snap. When we start asking you, I didn't expect you to get emotional, man.
Yeah.
You got me going.
But I think the beauty in what I'm hearing is I think that's what this show is. That's what,
When
the
I've watched
pivot.
Ryan Clark, I've rarely seen him get heated. Like, I've seen him get a little bit more animated, but I wouldn't say it became like a shouting match. He's always kept a calm tone about him, and I respect that about Ryan Clark.
Why it was created for moments like this, moments of adversity, moments that test your resolve, that test your character, but also, the togetherness, the community banding with each other. And one thing I've noticed in the comments now becoming creeping, how many people are in support of you? Yeah. But even on our
Do
trip
I agree
from
with everything Ryan Clark said and did? Of course not. And I'll say this time and time again, no. But I do support him. I don't think he should have been fired. I thought he was a talent. He had a lot of swag to the show. Like, I don't even know if you would call it swag, but just sophisticated, like a sophisticated swagger about him. Like, I really enjoyed Ryan Clark. And I liked his tone, his demeanor. Like, I really enjoyed him. Even if I didn't agree with everything he said, you're never going to agree with somebody 100%. But I really liked Ryan Clark. And I'm sad to see him go, but at the same time, I do understand when Ryan Clark was saying things, especially when it involved criminal cases that were inaccurate. That's where I thought, that's a little iffy. Like, yeah, I mean, that's dangerous waters to be treading. And I don't think he should have lost his job over it, though. I don't.
Baltimore to over here, just the amount of calls and texts, the people that are reaching out to you. What do you have to say to, to those people that have shown their support?
I think first off, anybody who's called her.
I think we're done for this. Let's see if he says anything else.
I'm ready to go.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This wasn't. Bro, like, I worked so hard at that, and I was like, man, I'm gonna work at ESPN until I stop doing TV. I'd already had my plans that, like, I was gonna do some old man stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to be like Berm, like, just pop in and be great, then go home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my plan. And that can't be my plan no more. Everybody I ever worked with, behind the scenes, in front of the camera, to, obviously, in our NFL Live crew, to Stephen A., to the Dave McKinnons and the people at First Take, to Monday Night Countdown, Marcos, obviously everybody on the desk with
him on Monday Night Countdown. I think that's where he made the apology. Whenever he made inaccurate statements about the Kyron Lacey case, and he made a public apology and corrected himself on a few things. I thought that was a beautiful apology. I thought it was well said. But the comments he had made he never should have said it. Because, I mean, like I said, it's dangerous waters to be treading.
Man, I love y'all so much, man. And it's like, I want to see everybody win. Like, I want to see those shows flourish. I want to see y'all flourish. So it ain't I'm not here, like, harboring no hate, man.
RC, I know, man, this is your platform, obviously. We know this is where you would answer the questions, but we've asked you enough questions. Actually, I have a question for the execs. I really want to know, is it all of the things that he's done for the company? All of the great things that he's done for a community that needs him, the leadership that he's shown, the people that he's defended.
This is why I didn't think, I don't know, would you call it like a DEI? I don't know, what's considered, I shouldn't really even be talking about it because I really don't know that much. I don't have that much knowledge in it, but you hear the term DEI hires. Regardless, I think that Ryan Clark should have stayed. Because this was my first thought. I'm like, that is one less black man on that show. Because now you only have Marcus Spears, which Marcus Spears, he's not even really full-time anymore because, like I said, his daughter is at Texas Longhorns playing volleyball. His son is a very talented basketball player. He's expected to have very high stars going into college. I don't know any updates on that, if he has committed anywhere, but his son's very talented, so he's kind of took a step back to invest in his kids' athletic careers. And then you have, like, what is it, Foxworth? That's one, I don't even know, like, the only two I can think, well, three if you count Stephen A, but Stephen A, Marcus Spears, and Foxworth. So I really hate to see Ryan Clark go. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I get annoyed seeing more. I want more diversity. I'll be honest, I want more diversity. Show me more diversity. Because the white people outweigh the black people, and it's unfortunate. But it is what it is.
He's a black man in America. We know when black men are overly qualified, they become a threat. And for me, it pisses me off because I know how hard he works. I know how passionate he is. And to see somebody behind the scenes that
like, they didn't see him as a threat. Obviously they didn't see him as a threat because that's why they got rid of him. Like, I think their concern was lawsuits. Because when you're saying inaccurate things like he did on the Kyron Lacey case, like, you could face lawsuits. And so I don't know, y'all. I get torn between this.
Make this decision, and I don't want to taint this whole entire interview, but I think just like I want to know, everybody else wants to know why. Why was Ryan Clark selected? It's just mind-boggling. It doesn't make sense.
You know, what that brings to mind is a speech my mom gave me when I was younger. She told me, you gotta work twice as hard, you gotta be twice as good, you gotta be twice as smart. And she said, even then, they may not pick you.
Dang, his mom was not right, because what did I just say? Like I said, you know, I would want to see more diversity on ESPN. Now, that's one less black person on ESPN now. So it's extremely unfortunate. Even when you have all the accolades on your resume, you still won't get picked. That's so unfortunate. All right, y'all, I think we're done with this. Let's move on to Cam Spiring and what he had to say, just to get a little bit more input about this.
Well, Cam, what do we have here, man? We heard the news about Ryan Clark and later heard the news about yourself in regards to ESPN. So.
Yeah, Couch, let's get me to 500 subs this week. How about that, y'all? Come on now. Get me to 500 subs. Subscribe if you love sports, okay? If you're watching me and you enjoy sports, hit the subscribe button. That gets sports in your algorithm. Not just from me, but from others as well. So you will see more sports in your algorithm if you subscribe to me, okay? And it won't just be my content. It'll be others as well. So, shout out to you, Couch, for that comment.
You know, we all want to know, man, what's your thoughts?
I'll say it this way, man. First off, appreciate all the support, okay? And I'll take this time to say, my experience at ESPN was nothing less than pristine.
Yeah.
What I went into this situation expecting is something that I did not expect I would enjoy as much as I did. Working alongside with some of the most talented journalists and, you know, sports individuals that cover sports was something that it got me to realize have a newfound respect for the skill. Malika, Shea Cornett, obviously Stephen A. Smith,
Yeah.
Ryan Clark, when you have Dan Orlovsky, Peter Schrager, the list goes on, and all the countless producers and support team that went into making sure that I was equipped with all the information each and every episode.
Y'all, what have I been telling you? What have I been telling you? He just commented on this himself. He said, hey, the producers, everybody in that ESPN room, making sure that I'm equipped with the information I need when they go live broadcasting on ESPN, right? It's not just his own thoughts, y'all. It's not just his own thoughts. You have producers in your ear giving you information, telling you what to say, giving you some reaction tips. Hey, we need this type of reaction from you to draw in the ratings, to draw in the views. Okay? They're not just saying their own thoughts all the time. And that's why, like, I'm a little bit more, do I agree with everything? I've talked about this before. Do I agree with everything Malika Andrews says? Of course not. But do I understand there's a business side to it? And that she has people in her ear telling her the facts of what she needs to say, giving her the information, just like what Cam spoke on. Cam spoke on this. He said, the people at ESPN who gave me the information I needed for the show. Like, it makes me be a little bit more lenient towards Malika Andrews. Now, do I agree with everything from those producers? Of course not. But I get that it's a business, and it draws in the ratings and the views, and it gets people talking. It gets people upset. They'll hate Malika Andrews, but then they'll be reacting to her videos. They'll be commenting on everything she says. They'll mention her in chat. I've seen her brought up numerous times in different live stream chats about people talking about how they can't stand her. All that does is help ESPN, because they say, hey, that's drawing in the views, that's drawing in the ratings. They're looking for the next out-of-pocket thing this woman's gonna say. So I get it. That it's a business, so I'm a little bit more understanding than others.
It was second to none. So when you hear certain things, it was like, dang, that's messed up how they did Ryan. Hold on real quick. Hey, you could go with it too. They're like, dang!
Y'all, he is, I know that people don't like Cam Newton, but man, he is a character. He's a character with how he was acting that out. That's another loss for ESPN, in my opinion. Like, you got rid of Shannon Sharp, who was a character. So you add in Cam Newton, who's another character, and I'm like, this is good, energy for the show. But then you get rid of him. It's like, come on now.
You have to make light of something, because for me, if this isn't a way for all athletes and even content creators to learn one important rule of the times that we live in right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't own your own platform, you're going to get overlooked, bypassed, and be extinct just like dinosaurs.
Y'all, what have I been telling you? What have I said? I said pay attention to everyone at ESPN and what they're doing. You have more people branching out to do podcasts now. They're not just working for ESPN. You had the Pat McAfee show. His show signed to ESPN, but he also owns his own production team. Now, I don't know who signed to the Pat McAfee show, but he does have his own production studio. The Thunderdome is what that studio is called. You also have Shannon Sharp, Club Shay Shay. He has his own production with Nightcap, Club Shay Shay, and then he added on Debo and Joe. He signed them to his production. You also have the Manning family. The Manning has Omaha Productions. Who is signed to that? Mina Kimes. So it's exactly what he's saying. If you don't adapt to the times, you're going to get left behind. Here I am. This is why I'm here, y'all. This is why I'm here. I know ESPN radio, that ain't gonna last forever. So, you know, I'm branching out. Here I am. Doing this thing, trying to build this up from the ground up. So we'll see what shakes and bakes with this. I'm hoping the goal is to get signed with Shannon Sharp. Let's see, who else? The Mannings or Pat McAfee. Heck, if Cam Newton branches out and has his own media team, I'd be signed to that. Same with Ryan Clark and so on. So, I mean, you really got to get with the times because it's getting scary at ESPN right now. Y'all, with the layoffs and the firings, it's real. It's a real thing.
Look at what's happening here.
Okay.
It's unfortunate what happened to Ryan Clark, but what I will tell you is this. Ryan Clark gonna be okay. The pivot ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate what happened to me, some would think, but I'm good. 4th and 1 ain't going nowhere. Funky Friday ain't going nowhere.
Not at all.
When you think about what happened to Emmanuel Acho, Joy Taylor.
Oh yeah, that's another example you can use. You can use, I can't remember Joy Taylor's podcast. What's it called? Oh man, I can't even remember her podcast name, but she has her own podcast now. You have Speakeasy with Acho. Now y'all know how I feel about that. They say some really out of pocket things, but I know what the tactic is. It's similar to what you have with ESPN. They will say and do things to draw in ratings and views. That's what Speakeasy does, and it works. It gets people talking. It gets people reacting to their videos. Like me, for example. I even react to their videos. Because I just try to correct what they say. It's like, hey, don't buy into this. Don't buy into this narrative. But, I mean, y'all. Okay, we're going to keep playing.
Different circumstances, different networks, different situations, but this is what you have to understand. When you look at the Speakeasy, all right, and when you look at other sports personalities having and taking control of their own narrative, it's imperative that walking into this industry, you would be a fool, asinine behavior if you don't take that opportunity to say, number one, I need to learn as much as I possibly can because I do not know when that time is going to call when I get tapped on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Number two,
true. Because look, here I am. I know ESPN radio. That ain't gonna last forever, right? I mean, I know how that goes. So it's like it's a really big fear of mine. So here I am doing this.
Take this as a way to bring more attention, more eyeballs, and to also magnify your personal IP. And I knew that that's what my intentions were.
Cam Newton was brilliant for that. He took on this opportunity at ESPN to really learn and grasp a ton of information and learn the game of the business. And that's similar to what I do, like with ESPN affiliated radio, right? Because I get on there, I'm talking, I get to ask questions and have these conversations, and I can show you an example. Hold on. We're 3:30 in, so here's an example of what I'm talking about.
Speaking of that, Chelsea is up next. Good afternoon.
After seeing the offensive line fail, the regression of Ryan Coleman-Williams, and the hit-or-miss defense, do you think this is a crucial year that Alabama coaching staff needs to prove they can develop talent?
Most certainly, Chelsea. I think Ryan Grubb got a pass last year because the offensive line and the running game was so bad, but he's not going to get one this year. And how he handles the quarterback situation in camp is going to be the most scrutinized aspect of his job.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. I have my eyes on Alabama right now, especially with the coaching staff, and just the development does not seem to be there like it once was.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of question marks about that, and I'm kind of worn out and weary from hearing about how great Kalen DeBoer has been and what his record is. And we've been to all the games, we've watched all the games. What does he do now? This is his third year. Nick Saban won a national championship at Alabama in his third year and inherited a dumpster fire. Kalen DeBoer inherited a team that came within a play or two of competing for the national championship the year before he got there.
And y'all, this was like the longest segment I had on the ESPN affiliated radio, like having this conversation. But you learn so much with like what you're gonna ask. You learn how the business works, and you know, I even got my own little y'all. I'm gonna brag about this a little bit, okay? Because I was so proud of this moment. But whenever he introduced me, he was like, speaking of Alabama, and then he introduced my name. And I thought that moment was so cool, because, I didn't, like, it just made me feel like I'm building my name up, right? So, anyways, here we go. Back to it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And it just seems like more Alabama fans just seems like they're becoming more delusional. And I hate to say that, but when you look at the reality of the situation, it definitely isn't what it once was.
Now, Chelsea, the first thing any fan base wants to do, including Alabama, is defend their head coach. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, but that's not what we're talking about here. Nor are we talking about whether Kalen DeBoer is a good person. I believe he is. And I really don't think it makes one bit of difference whether he is or isn't, as long as he satisfies his bosses and the fan base. What does he do on the football field? How does he handle himself? He's bright, he's smart, he's very eloquent in the way he talks. I don't like the way he handles the most pertinent questions. He's fairly boring, he's fairly monotonous, he says the same thing. But that's not unusual for a football coach. I just sat through 16 press conferences in Tampa, so he's not a lot different, except some coaches are able to relate. And I had somebody tell me the other day, it doesn't matter what he says, as long as he wins championships. True on one level, but on the other level right now, what coaches have to do is get energy and excitement so they can raise money and buy players. And I was telling some people last night coming back, they were asking me, does Alabama have the money to compete? I said, I think they do, to a degree. They don't maybe have A&M Texas money. And the person said, if Nick Saban was there, could he get the money? And the answer is yes. Why? In addition to a championship resume, he has personal charisma that can call someone up and get them behind the program. I don't think Kalen DeBoer can do that.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, just going based off what we've seen, it's just not there. I have to see it to believe it. And, I know you've been critical of his interviews, and rightfully so, because I don't think he handled that with confidence whatsoever.
No, and listen, it's like the thing with Sankey yesterday. You don't need a transcript to hear what somebody said. If you look at the transcript of Kalen DeBoer on Wednesday, he probably covered every base and said everything correctly. It's just the energy that he did not bring. And I want a coach to stand up there and display confidence. I don't hear that from DeBoer. I feel like DeBoer it's like, remember when you were in the 7th grade play, you memorized the script and you're up there trying to remember every word.
That little analogy that he gave with that, I really took notes of that. It's like little things like that you really learn, like how to captivate an audience with like your words. And that was a perfect example of that. Giving that analogy, I thought that was brilliant.
I want to see real energy, real authenticity about what he believes. I know what a good coach he is. I've seen that. He makes a difference on Saturday. But how is he energizing that football team. And you know, we had Damian Harris on the other day, and I realized he played 10 years ago for Nick Saban, but he was describing what his friends, the former players, are saying about DeBoer, and that's a bad sign when the former players, in many ways, and I'm sure they'll call up and say this isn't correct, but I'm telling you it is, are tuning out on what DeBoer is representing.
Yeah, and I can speak on that because I watched Ty Simpson on Down to Business podcast with Caleb Downs, and Ty Simpson even said that the coaching wasn't there against Indiana. So he's even kind of spoke on his thoughts with DeBoer compared to Nick Saban.
Chelsea, very well said.
There you go. That's an example of, you know, me learning like through ESPN radio, like how, like the game, like how the business works. Like I talked about like the process of, you know, what I go through with this. It's like, you know, usually they want, like, even though they know you, they still want your information. They want to know, hey, what's the topic? What are you going to discuss? They want to know like your information, all of that, right? But this time it's like I've started to build up a name. They knew, like, they knew who I was. Like, they didn't ask me about my name. They said, hey, Chelsea, and got into my topic. And it was like, and then I wasn't prepared. They didn't tell, this is the part that I'm going to be prepared for next time around. But they did not prepare me for the fact that I was going to be on longer than what I'm typically on air for. Like, I had a longer time frame on air, so this was like almost 6 minutes. Usually it's like, you know, 3 minutes or less, but I was on there longer this time. So it's things like this where I'm having full-on discussions in depth about the game of football, coaches, players, all of that, right? That really gives me the knowledge and the questions to ask, and I really value soaking that up. So I can agree with Cam Newton 100% on the advice he's given, because it is true what he is saying. Let's see, where were we at? Did I finish the whole thing? Let's see. Okay, no, I didn't finish it. Here we go.
They knew that was what my intentions were. I was counseled to say, Cam, there's not another platform on linear television in your field like ESPN. And that was truer words that could not be spoken any clearer. You can't make me hate ESPN.
No.
What I've learned, it was an internship almost. The production value, they're the leading sports source for a reason. They have the leading talent, not only in front of the camera, but behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That makes sure whether it's a live show or whether it's in studio, that they are always on the cutting edge of topics and information, and also how it's rolled out.
Yeah.
Yo, I've been telling you the game. I've been telling you all the same exact things he's saying here.
So when the news came about, yes, I felt like anybody else would.
Because I was going to say, did you see it coming?
I didn't, but that's not the topic that I want to kind of belabor on.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see it coming. Like, I knew based off of all of his public apologies, it was getting dicey. I will say that. Last season, I talked about this numerous times, like 3 times he had to make public apologies. I knew it was getting dicey for him. I said, hey, this man, he really needs to act right, because he can only get away with having to correct his statements for so long before something like this ends up happening. I just didn't think it would happen this soon, because, like I said, he has a sophisticated swagger about him that he added to the show, and I think there will be a void there. But it wasn't a complete shock, but again, like, it, you know, it was a little bit of a surprise just from how soon it happened.
Look at now, I will not be going back to First Take.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, I still left with some things that you can't pay for. And that's relationships.
Yeah.
That's connections. That's to be able to say, man, dog, we can agree to disagree, bro. But boy, Ryan, boy, you brought the best out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Anthony, man, it was a plum pleasing pleasure, brother. Molly, respect you. Shay, respect you. Dan, respect you. Pete, everybody behind the scene. Quaker, everybody behind the scene.
Yeah.
I appreciated that because I did not have that education. I am a former athlete that did not study journalism when I had the opportunity to study it while I was studying in school.
Yeah.
So now when you see certain things and you analyze and you start to say, like, this is how production works, you'll be a fool not to take your notes. You'll be a fool not to network and say, hey, man,
That's
how do
what
you
I'm
do
saying.
this?
If you don't study journalism and broadcasting, like, you really should learn in other areas. So I'm glad that Cam Newton did that.
Yes. And then even after, hey, man, I'm calling you and blah, blah, blah. Hey, don't feel sorry. This is a part of the industry that it's unfortunate that every single person, whether tenured or not, will have to face someday.
True.
Either on your terms or their terms. Your terms, I'm retired. Sometimes retired could be very sketchy because they can force you to.
Mm-hmm.
Their terms is, hey, where the company is going, you don't align with it.
Yeah.
And that's still cool. Bro, I'm a professional at what I do. And I will reiterate, you cannot, you will not make me hate my experience with ESPN.
So Cam Newton's, he's saying that he had a positive experience. Obviously, Ryan Clark, it seemed a little bit more negative. He's not, I ain't gonna lie, Ryan Clark sounded really bitter over the incident with Peter Schrager, and like I said, he kind of contradicted himself in that, in the Pivot podcast. Like, he said things like, for example, that if he was to call Peter Schrager, he thinks he would say, like, those two are on good terms and everything's fine. But then shortly after, he was talking about how he felt disrespected because Peter Schrager was celebrating the segment. And it's like, how could you feel disrespected after you're the one who made the disrespecting comments to Peter Schrager in the first place? Like, you brought that on yourself. Like, you need to take some accountability for your actions. Like, that's the part where it's like, I felt like he sounded kind of bitter about that. But Cam Newton, he had a different experience. And I think he came out with it with, fresh eyes because he wasn't there for that long. So, and even he had said himself, like, whenever he went into it, he was taking notes. He was wanting to really learn the business because he knew that it might not last forever. And if he could gain knowledge to help him with his own podcast, 4th and 1, that's what he was going to do. And good on him for doing that. But it's two different experiences that I'm seeing.
What I've been able to garner with the face of sports media and Stephen A. Smith is something that I'll take to my grave.
Yeah.
The ability to roll out information, to process information in real time, to have a vast depth of verbiage and wordplay, not just with football, but basketball, baseball, boxing, golf, tennis. That's a person that you just marvel at.
Yeah.
And contrary to what anybody may say, there will never be bad blood between me and Ryan Clark.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this here now. I respect the man that could call me and say, hey man, this is why I feel the way I feel. You can't hate that. You can't hate a person by being able to say, dog, you look the part, you act the part, you are the part. But still, even having all those things with you, you still may not be the right fit at that particular point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the narrative may be. Oh man, the only reason why he was there was because of, it don't matter what you may think, homeboy. It don't matter what you think, homegirl. I'm appreciative to even have had that opportunity.
For sure.
Is it unfortunate? Absolutely. But don't feel sorry for me. People go separate ways from jobs that they've been with way more than what I just went through.
Mm-hmm.
But own your own. To any former athlete that's out there that see this, listen, bro. Listen, sis. Hey, get you your own platform because it'll be hard to remove you from that.
Exactly. This is what, like I said, this is why I'm here. Like, this is why I'm here. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this, because I know that ESPN radio, things like that, that's not going to last forever. So I really have to have my own platform. I have to grow on this. So if y'all could subscribe to my channel, that would be great. Thanks.
What does that make you feel like to have your own platform? Like when you walk into something that you have created, what does that feel like, and what does that give you the option to do?
It's a constant. It's a constant of work. You have to pour into your team. That was a job that I tried to do at a high level. This Iconic Saga, 4th and 1, Funky Friday, anything content camp, that's my passion.
Mm-hmm.
I so happen to get paid from that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm more passionate about those things because when I talk to the team in pre-production, the Hassans, the Billies, the U's, whether it's John A on Funky Friday, when I talk with the team, Jimbo, VJ, you got shit. It don't matter. You got Rich. You got
done with that. I think he had a positive experience. Let me fast forward, see if he says anything.
You really rock with. Yeah, like you have to bring the reality and make it real. I knew with that type of situation or that type of gig, not necessarily that it was a matter of time. I knew that in that company, you have different thoughts and opinions every single day, every season, every week, every year. And you have to prove your worth. Mm-hmm. That's not to say I didn't. That's not to say Ryan didn't or others who are going to get laid off. That's unfortunate because yes, your confidence or your image takes a hit. It's like, dang, what happened to your boy? No. ESPN was good to me. And it's still good to me because the emails that I've garnered, the relationships, the phone numbers, those relationships is something that I can take with me and apply it in any type of capacity.
Yeah.
So as I'm going through this, I will tell the people who may go through this or may not go through this, this is the time that you take your content extremely serious. And it's not for me
Y'all, I'm gonna have to watch this whole thing. We might revisit this. I might rewatch this in my own time, okay? Because there's more stuff that I want to get into. I want to get into what Coop has to say, how we can relate it to the Ryan Clark topic. So I'm going to get into that because Pooh Man sent me this video. I can obviously give some thoughts on it because I told you all about how the business works. Even we've heard Cam speak on this. We've heard Clark speak on this as well. So people that have an understanding of, you know, inside knowledge with this, like, they can add perspective to it that people might not understand. Because I do think people can be a little overly harsh when it comes to Malika Andrews just because they don't have an understanding of how the business works. They think what Malika Andrews says is all on her own, and it's not. I can tell you right now, it's not. Yeah, she has a little earpiece in her ear. She has executives and producers and everything telling her what to say. So not everything is of her own. But we're going to get into that. But you, Pooh Man, you told me to check something out in the Discord. Let me look at what you sent me. Ooh, that's going to be it. We'll get into that tomorrow. We'll get into that one tomorrow. You know I love those, Pooh Man. I'm a sucker for those. So I'm going to save that for tomorrow. But let's watch Coop with Malika Andrews.
Right. And that's been the hardest part for me sometimes is stomaching the falsehoods, particularly, you know, this you hate black men or think that couldn't be farther from the truth.
You do realize that we can see you lying, right?
Oh yeah, keep in mind, this I think was from a year ago, it said, when I downloaded it. So here we go.
Okay. Andrews, we meet again. If you guys are unfamiliar, I have covered Malika Andrews quite a few times on this channel, and I am not the biggest fan. Today,
well, right off the bat, I can already tell you, this draws in ratings for ESPN. This only helps ESPN. When you have people reacting to Malika Andrews, when you have people commenting on Malika Andrews, and I see it all the time in various different live stream chats about the first name they mention, they don't like Malika Andrews. All of that just helps ESPN draw in ratings because they're looking for the next crazy out-of-pocket thing that she's going to say. And those producers know what they're doing. They're saying, hey, say this, do this, have this type of attitude when you make this comment, because it's going to get people reacting, drawing up the ratings and the views, and the cycle, like I said, continues. But I ain't mad at it, y'all, because I do the same thing with Speakeasy, okay? So I'm not mad at this.
we're back to discuss Malika Andrews even more. If you guys are unfamiliar with Malika Andrews, she is an ESPN reporter and #1 black male hater in the United States, next to members of the Klan. And recently,
to me, let's see. I know y'all be talking about Malika Andrews, but let's see if you can prove it to me here.
she sat down with NBA star DeMar DeRozan of the Sacramento Kings for his podcast called Dinner with DeMar. So DeMar had Malika Andrews on as a guest, and here's some of the things they talked about. I had never seen DeMar's podcast before. Originally watching, I was just thinking, this looked like two rich people complaining about life, but apparently his show centers around talking about mental health. There we go.
I always say, I want to be two things. I want to be accurate and I want to be fair.
For sure, yeah.
And if I'm not one of those two things, you might not always like me, but this is my number. Please call me. And people have called and they've said that. And I say that oftentimes to before, especially before I'm talking to folks about something that is sensitive or tough, because these things come up.
Oh wait, where's my manners, y'all? I've been going on and on. Still haven't played Tiffany's drop. Cree's in the building. Couch is in the building. I'm sorry, y'all. Like, I'm so caught up in, like, watching all this content that I just completely left out playing y'all's drops. Excuse my manners, okay? I gotta be perfect in every aspect of the game, and I was not perfect on that one. But we're at 1:30 into this video. Let me play this. I gotta play something funny here. Here we go. I gotta shape up.
We will be perfect in every aspect of the game. You drop a pass, you run a mile. You miss a blocking assignment, you run a mile. You fumble the football, and I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts. And then you will run a mile. Perfection. Let's go to work.
Perfection. That's what I'm looking for here. I gotta be perfect in every aspect of the game, y'all. Okay, let's play y'all's drops, because I've been slacking since y'all came into the building. But we had Go Cree come in. Shout out to Go Cree. Let's see. Let's play your drop real quick.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man.
Yes, I know the Muffin Man. Who lives on Drury Lane?
We have Couch in the building. Shout out to you, Couch. Let's play your drop. Shout out to you. Okay, did we have anybody else that came into the building that I missed? I don't think so. Okay. We can keep it pushing, y'all. We can keep it pushing.
Right. And that's been the hardest
We were
part
1:30
for
into
me.
this video.
And it is hurtful. Like I think that's okay to say sometimes. Yeah. It hurts.
Yeah.
Even it doesn't matter if it is someone who is credible or someone with a big platform, or if it's someone in their mom's basement just firing off a post. Sometimes it is hurtful when that seeps through, particularly for me when it's not true.
Right.
And that's been the hardest part for me sometimes is stomaching the falsehoods, particularly, you know, this you hate black men, or think that couldn't be farther from the truth, and using my family or the way that my family looks as some sort of evidence of that. And that is just untrue.
For sure.
And it's just unkind.
And for Malika Andrews to sit there with a straight face and act as if the accusations of her not liking black men is just unfounded, or it's just something that society or her critics have just made up, it's preposterous at best. And she said something there at the end that I want to address. People are judging me, saying that I don't like black men, or I hate black men because of my family that I chose. Because her husband, I believe it's Dave Metterman, I'll put a picture up. I believe that her husband is white. That's not why I believe that Malika Andrews hates black men. It don't have nothing to do with her husband. I believe that's just who she is, the person. If you guys are unfamiliar with Malika Andrews, she's actually mixed herself. Her mother is white and her father is a black man. And she grew up, I think, mostly with her mom. She even talked about in this interview with DeMar.
Y'all, this is why I like Theo Coop. Y'all, he does thorough research. He's giving me some, you know, a background on Malika Andrews. And I've said this before. I think I said this on Ty Pro's channel, shout out Prolific Minds podcast, but I think you have to be extremely careful when you get into interracial relationships, just because if you lean towards one side of the family too much and you're only consuming information from that side, and you're not gathering information from the other, it can be a dangerous game. Like, you have to stay true to who you are, because it can have an impact on where you come from. And that goes for both sides, like both, you know, different races. There has to be a balance. And if she was only having input from her mother who is white, or her husband who is white, if, you know, that's predominantly who she's around and surrounds herself with, it can become an issue. So, okay, we're gonna keep listening.
She grew up with racial identity issues. She's always been kind of on the skinny side, so she's had body dysmorphia. Being that she's a black woman, she wasn't thick enough. All kind of silly shit. But let's go to what's actually on the record here. Adrian Payne was a basketball player for Michigan State and also played for the Orlando Magic for a few years in the NBA. He was actually deleted, stepping into a conflict between a man and a woman, actually defending a woman, was shot to his demise. Let's talk about how you brought that up on ESPN.
Shifting gears, former Michigan State star Adrian Payne was shot and killed in Orlando, Florida, early Monday morning, the Orange County Sheriff's Office said. And Payne was the 15th pick by the Atlanta Hawks in 2014. Played 4 seasons in the NBA with multiple teams. In 2018, he was waived by the Magic.
Right now, she's reading from a teleprompter. So what she's saying right now is not her own thoughts. I can see her eyes. I'm paying attention to it. I see her eyes reading a teleprompter.
After he was named in a report by ESPN's Outside the Lines that he'd been involved in an alleged sexual assault.
Her eyes, I can tell she's reading based off her body language, I can tell she's reading a teleprompter, giving her the information of what to say. This is not her own thoughts here. I can say that. They're telling her what to say.
At Michigan State in 2010, no charges were filed in that case. Prior to playing in the NBA, Payne was a member of the All Big Ten second team in 2 of his 4 seasons with Michigan State. So Draymond Green, who was Payne's teammate for 2 seasons in Michigan, tweeted this. You can see the broken heart emojis on Monday. Payne was 31 years old.
Or we can put that to the side. Let's talk about the moment in which disrespected Stephen A. Smith on his television show when you told him to stop it.
If you know, there's an issue with what she said there, blame the producers. Blame the ones who wrote that in the teleprompter for her to say. That's facts given to her to say on air. That's not her own information.
They were talking about the firing or potential firing of Emeka Udoka, and he was the head coach for the Boston Celtics, for having a consensual relationship with a woman on the Boston Celtics staff.
Stephen A., with all due respect, this is not about pointing the finger. Stop. What became apparent to me in this press conference is that we do.
I cannot clarify over a phone call if, you know, she was told to say, hey, say these certain things, we need this certain type of reaction from you. I can't clarify with that. Obviously, I can give you like my experience being on ESPN affiliated radio, that they want to know what you're going to say in advance. They want to know what the topic is. Like they can't have you acting reckless. So this was obviously approved by ESPN to some extent, but I mean, I don't know. Like I wasn't there for this radio call.
Not have all of the information here, and it was frustrating to me that the Celtics declined to elaborate or to give more specifics about what exactly the rule breaking was that led us to this point. So that, I just wanted to get that out of the way first. But to answer your question, Molly, I think what stood out to me, I think what stood out to me is that Brad Stevens, he was upset. That's what stood out to me about what he termed rampant Twitter BS is the word that he used, that women were unfairly dragged into this within the Celtics organization. You could see that Brad Stevens was visibly upset about this. And I also found that to be gross and unnecessary, that folks were bringing in the names and the images of women that is just not a fact. But the fact that it was able to go on all day, the fact that we are sitting here debating whether somebody else should have been suspended or not, we are not here, Stephen A., to further blame women. That is not why we are here.
First of all, let me be very clear. I don't appreciate where you're going with that. I'm not blaming anybody but Ime Udoka.
Now, like I said, ESPN, they want things like this to draw in the ratings and the views. So I don't know. I can't speak on if she had a producer tell her, hey, we need this topic covered. We need this type of reaction from you. We need this back and forth with Stephen A. on this to get people talking, to get people reacting to this, to get this in the media, to push out this content, or, you know, this broadcasting. I don't know what the method or the strategy was, but trust me, there is always a method and a strategy to this. They don't just speak willy-nilly on ESPN. Like, there's a method to it. Like, you have producers, executives telling you what to say. You have the teleprompter. You have, people telling you, like, what the topic needs to be, what type of tone you need to have, you know, all these different elements to it. So I don't know. Like, I'm iffy when it comes to things like this because it is a business. And I know that ESPN is doing things to draw in ratings. But let's hear what Stephen A. has to say back.
He deserves, the fact of the matter is, I've said he deserved to be fired if they were going to fire him. If you're not going to fire him, then don't fire him. My issue is all of this being publicized. The point that I'm trying to make is just like you're not mentioning. Excuse me. I listened to you. You're the one telling me to stop on my show. It ain't happening. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I've already said he deserves to be fired or he deserves to be there and handle it internally and privately.
We're not even close to being done. How about the time that she shut down Kendrick Perkins when he was talking about the Boston situation?
What she's saying here, okay? I just want to be clear on this. Either way, whether a producer told her to say it or not, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it one bit. And she can't be upset about how people perceive her in the media. Well, not even the media, but the audience. She can't be upset with the audience and how the audience perceives her when this is the role she plays, according to her bosses. I mean, I think she knows what it is. I think she knows what it is, and she understands the assignment. And that's why she's there.
A couple years ago, because Kendrick played for the Celtics and had insider information that she wasn't even willing to be privy to, simply cut him off the live stream.
Accountability, okay? Accountability doesn't just go to Ime Udoka, okay? Accountability goes to the other people that played a part in that as well. When they asked, is anybody else going to be punished? And they said no. These relationships that was had with Ime Udoka and one of these women, it was consensual.
Well,
that's the problem that I have right now. Everybody got to be held accountable.
So many times.
Without having all of the information, it is unfair and irresponsible of us to go and to speculate on that, because what we have to...
This is where I think a producer told her, say this to him. I mean, I think a producer wanted her to have this back and forth with this information.
I'm not speculating.
Sure.
I have the information. I'm not speculating.
But what we have to go with here is the fact that an independent law firm came in, did this investigation, and the facts that they were presented, they came to the conclusion that Ime Udoka violated a policy that warranted a 1-year suspension.
There's been other times.
Came from the producers telling her to say that, because if you look at her eyes, like, you can pay attention to her body language, like, she looks like she's reading from a teleprompter. So that just kind of makes me think that this was an intentional back and forth between him and her. And I think, my guess is ESPN, and I talked about this with Ryan Clark, it was the same thing with the Kyron Lacey case. Like, the comments he made, they weren't accurate, and he had to make a public apology and correct it. And he read from a teleprompter all the factual information given from that case, and I think it's the same thing right here. She's telling him something from ESPN, like, hey, we got to stick to the facts. We got to stick to what the attorneys are saying with this information. But then you're having this back and forth because he's claiming, hey, I got the information. I know what I'm saying. So I don't know. I feel like this was probably intentional from ESPN, like the producers.
She's told NBA players she has more info, more knowledge as far as in the game action, even though she never played in the league.
I think that Dylan Brooks should be suspended for game.
This is where I'm careful with what I say, because I just gave an example on Peter Schrager, right? Peter Schrager didn't play the game, but he's the most accurate when it comes to his analytic work, because he has been the most accurate with Super Bowl predictions, with NFL fantasy drafts, and he knows his knowledge when it comes to stats and player information. I tread carefully when it comes to discrediting somebody just because they didn't play a game. Because I will say this, like, Malika Andrews didn't get there on her own. Like, she had to have some background that gave her that job. Now, was it necessarily earned? I don't know. Like, I don't know. But I just try to tread carefully. That doesn't mean that Coop is wrong with what he's saying here. But that's just a added perspective that I always try to be considerate of.
Possibly game 4. Look, you have to clean this up. Look, we talking about people saying we don't know if he did it intentionally. He fouled him on purpose, and he did it with intentions. Okay, let's get that out the way. Here's the thing that we have to. Looking at the play,
you can't look at a person. Yeah, but you're making an assumption.
Yes, you can.
You can't look at a person and know what their intent was. It was a dangerous play, regardless. But you can't. Okay. I didn't realize we had a bunch of mind reading.
I'm only going to say
please
that.
continue.
Kirk, how old were you when you dunked the ball for the first time?
Now here's when he humbled her.
21. 12.
12. How old were you when you dunked the ball for the first time?
12.
I was about 13 years old when I dunked the ball for the first time. I know what a fast break looks like. I have 4 months out in a season because I had my wrist taken out on a dunk. I know not necessarily the intent to hurt, but I know the intent to foul extremely hard, and that's the repercussion.
And believe it or not, people aren't.
I don't know if that's proof, y'all, because that last part, he said, I don't necessarily know the intent to hurt, which kind of supports what Malika Andrews was saying. Malika Andrews was saying, hey, you can't assume what someone's intent was with a play. And that's not inaccurate. Like, I mean, if you look at it from a legal standpoint, you can't, assume what somebody's intent was. Like, it has to be proven with like evidence, and I don't necessarily know like the play. Like, I would have to look at the play itself, see how it was played out, not just an image. But what he was saying back was like basically supporting what she said. Well, I'm gonna run that back. Like, let me run that back, because if you catch that last part, he was kind of supporting what she was saying when it comes to you can't prove somebody's intent.
I have 4 months out in a season because I had my wrist taken out on a dunk. I know not necessarily the intent to hurt, but I know the intent
to hurt. So if Kendrick was making claims that this player had the intent to hurt someone, which I'm assuming that's what it was over, because Malika's argument here was like, hey, we can't assume that his intentions were to hurt somebody. And that's, what he basically supported with what she said, because he said, he said, I can't prove if that was somebody's intentions to hurt. But, I did like end up getting my wrist taken out of the game. But you can't prove somebody's intent. I don't know. That one, that's kind of iffy to me.
Foul extremely hard, and that's the repercussion.
And believe it or not, people aren't stupid, especially black men. We can recognize an enemy when we see one. Let's talk about Brandon Miller, who was the number 2 draft pick a couple years ago in the league. How she was the only person to bring up a situation that he was allegedly in during the night of his draft, and he had anything to do with it. She brought that up on Brandon Miller's draft night.
His name did surface in court testimony involving a case where his former teammate and another man, they've been indicted for capital murder in the fatal shooting of 23-year-old Jamia Harris in January. The University of Alabama has described Miller as a cooperating witness. How is this factoring, if at all, into how teams are evaluating him?
Yeah, Malika, part of the... I don't think it would be brought up at all if it wasn't for Malika just bringing it up on national television right now.
Another situation that was crazy was you had Josh Giddey, the former Oklahoma City Thunder, I believe he's Chicago.
A headline, like she's reading like the teleprompter, telling her what to say, the information's given to her. She don't know all these facts by herself. Like, that girl don't know. She's just reading what information is given to her to say. So I kind of cut her a break when it comes to certain things like that. Because that's just like somebody in the news, like, if you pay attention to like just the regular news, they'll read the teleprompter, the information given. They don't know all the facts, but they're reading what the teleprompter tells them. So, I don't know. Like, I get it, but at the same time, I'm a little bit more compassionate and understanding just because I know how the business works.
Well, now he played for the Thunder. He was accused of diddling an underage girl, and Malika would not talk about it, and people were on Malika's head.
So Malika Andrews was facing backlash for not reporting the Josh Giddey situation because of what people are saying is his skin color. She finally took it to the podium and addressed the situation.
Had an improper relationship with an underage girl. In a since deleted post, an anonymous social media user claimed a girl who was seen with Giddey in videos and images, some of which include explicit captions, was a junior in high school at the time. Giddey, who's 21, he declined to comment on Friday, and despite the serious allegations, Giddey is yet to miss a game this
because she wasn't covering a certain topic. Because if she wasn't covering a certain topic, that's not on her. That's up to her bosses of what she covers, the topics that are given. I'm gonna go back and see what was said here.
I don't think it would be brought up at all if it wasn't for Malika just bringing it up on national television right now.
Another situation that was crazy was you had Josh Giddey, the former Oklahoma City Thunder. I believe he's Chicago Bull now. He played for the Thunder. He was accused of diddling an underage girl, and Malika would not talk about it, and people were on Malika's head.
So Malika Andrews was,
people were upset because she wasn't covering that topic. That's not up to her. That's up to the executives and the producers of what topics she's going to cover. That goes over her head. She can't just be saying what she wants freely. So I give her a break on that, because she can't cover topics and outside of what the producers tell her to. So I don't know.
Facing backlash for not reporting the Josh Giddey situation because of what people are saying is his skin color. She finally took it to the podium and addressed the situation.
And the reason why she finally addressed the situation is because that's when ESPN made the decision. They said, okay, hey, we finally have to cover this topic, and that's when she was allowed to cover it. That doesn't necessarily mean that Malika Andrews didn't want to cover the topic. It just went over her head with what ESPN decides for her to say and do.
Underage girl. In a since deleted post, an anonymous social media user claimed a girl who was seen with Giddey in videos and images, some of which include explicit captions, was a junior in high school at the time. Giddey, who's 21, he declined to comment on Friday, and despite the serious allegations, Giddey is yet to miss a game this season, and Thunder coach Mark Daigneault, he said he will continue to be in the lineup, saying, quote, just with the information we have at this point, that is the decision we've made. It's obviously a league matter at this point, and the ball is in their court on that. Now, a league spokesperson told me this morning that the NBA is still in the process of gathering information, and we will continue to update this story as the news develops.
So at the end of the day, you can't say there's something that black men made up, because why would we just make it strictly about you? Why wouldn't we be saying it about all these sports commentators? And miss me with the misogyny, it's just that she's a woman. There's plenty of female basketball analysts who are respected. Doris Burke is one of them. Rachel Nichols was another one that was really respected. I know she was let go by ESPN. They don't have a problem with women covering the NBA.
Man, why am I blinking on her last name? But Andrea, she's one, I like her. She also was with SEC Network. But I liked her. I spoke to Alyssa Lang more, but I liked Andrea as well.
It's a sport. We don't have a problem with that. We have a problem when it's women with clear biases who have agendas. Man, you can go to DeMar DeRozan podcast. You can go to Jesus Christ podcast himself. You're not going to be able to sit there and act like you want to cry and expect us to be sympathetic for you. You're not a victim.
I gotta go back to that. That was funny.
I know she was let go by ESPN. They don't have a problem with women covering the NBA as a sport. We don't have a problem with that. We have a problem when it's women with clear biases who have agendas. Man, you can go to DeMar DeRozan podcast. You can go to Jesus Christ podcast himself. You're not going to be able to sit there.
Podcast himself. That's hilarious. Now, again, I get, everything that I've seen in this video was her reading the teleprompter. That's information given to her from ESPN. The only one that was difficult for me to say, hey, that was absolutely her reading from a teleprompter and having an executive in her ear, was the incident where it was just a phone call with Stephen A. That's a little bit different But even then, like I said myself, like being on ESPN radio, they want to know, hey, what topics are you covering? What are you going to be discussing? They want to know all the information because they're not going to have you on there acting reckless. So I would assume that whenever Malika was on the show, that she discussed, like they had a discussion of what was going to be talked about. The producers were there, like they knew what the back and forth was going to be with her and Stephen A. So I mean, that's the only one I can't speak on for sure, just because I can't see her body language. But just assuming with how it goes for me, like with the ESPN affiliated radio, even that I kind of question. What'd you say, G Honda? Man, I hope NBC don't try to do Tomlin like ESPN did Ryan. I'm just saying, nobody's off the table. Nobody's off the table. And Tomlin has too much character to him. I think Tomlin will be fine.
Like you want to cry, expect us to be sympathetic for you. You're not a victim here. Y'all think I'm supposed to feel bad for her?
I'm supposed to feel sorry for that bitch. I don't.
Black men aren't stupid. We know our enemy when we see one. Fellas shouldn't be supporting ESPN on any platform monetarily if they still have her working there as a reporter.
Like,
You guys,
I'm not so harsh on Malika Andrews, because I feel like the problem should not solely be on Malika Andrews. Do I get upset with her for repeating what is told for her to say? Absolutely. But the sole issue, if you want to have a problem with what Malika says half the time on ESPN, take that up with the producers. Because the producers are the ones putting it in the teleprompter. The producers are the one in her ear telling her what to say. They're giving her the information that she has to repeat. Like, she don't know all these facts off the top of her head, okay? I can promise you that, because I've given examples, and I know somebody who works at ESPN, right? And he said one of the few women at ESPN who can go no earpiece in their ear without an executive talking is Mina Kimes. But everybody else, like, they usually have an earpiece in their ear. Like, now, does Mina Kimes still have an earpiece in her ear? Of course, but does she always have to have producers giving her information? No, because she knows her stuff. But, you know, with Malika, it's like, I get how the business works. So I feel like the problem should be more on ESPN's producers and what they have in the teleprompter and what they have repeating to her to say. I feel like that's where we should be looking at. It's not solely on her. But again, I do have an issue with her repeating it, because it's like, you signed up for this job, you know what it is. You can't get mad when people have a negative reaction to you. It's like the boy who cried wolf. Like, you can't get upset when people have a negative reaction to you when you know what you signed up for.
let me know what you think in the comments. Do better, squad. Fall out. Malika Andrews, I say this for you.
We're dismissed.
Shout out to Coop. I enjoyed that. Thank you, Pooh Man, for sending me that. That was good to break down. I gave you all some inside knowledge on how it works. It's like, I get why people don't like Malika Andrews, but at the same time, when you have an issue with what's being said, start looking at the producers. Start looking at the writers in ESPN, the people who are feeding her this information, telling her what to say. Start looking at the other outside factors that people don't necessarily know about. But I'm giving it to you. And even Ryan Clark has spoke on this. Y'all, this, I told you I wanted to give it back to circle this back to Ryan Clark, right? Well, Ryan Clark even said on Pivot during that Peter Schrager and Ryan Clark incident that after that segment was over, that Ryan Clark was over talking to some of the producers, and one of the producers that was there for 12 years was like, hey, I thought you were going to get more angry during this. They were wanting him to be more animated. So, y'all, that's just an example of how dirty the business can be. You can't solely put it all on Malika Andrews, because they're doing this with everybody. I've been listening. I can appreciate your take on that. Yeah, Cree. And I mean, it's nothing. That's not to say that Coop is wrong with what he said. But it's just factors that people don't necessarily think about unless they know the business. And so since I have somebody who, I know somebody who works at ESPN, and since I've been on ESPN affiliated radio, I know the process of how things work. And I know that the sole problem isn't just the people who are the analysts or the hosts on ESPN. It's the producers. People really need to start calling out ESPN's producers and executives for how they run things and for what is said, because at the end of the day, they're the ones allowing it. They're the ones telling them to say these things. Now, does that mean I'm sympathetic to Malika Andrews? Nope, because the clip that Coop played early on in that video of her on that podcast saying, those things are hurtful, I see those comments. It's like, girl, miss me with that, because you know what you signed up for in this business. You know that, you know how the business is. You know how they want you to be. They know you're going to be bringing the ratings when you're saying these out-of-pocket things. So don't get mad when the audience doesn't take to your side of things. That's just how ESPN ultimately wanted you to be the villain, and that's what you signed up for. So it is what it is. Mama. Oh man, okay. Alright, y'all, let's see. What else did I want to talk about? That was fun. I ain't gonna lie, that was kind of fun to discuss. I do want to get into this other image that Pooh Man sent me in the Discord, but it's NFL greats, NFL greats and stars who have never won a Super Bowl. So you have Dan Marino, Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, Antonio, does that say Antonio Gates? I think that says Antonio Gates. Joe Thomas, Bruce Matthews. Let's see. I can't read that one. Is that Kevin? Yeah, Kevin. Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, Justin Jefferson, George Kittle. Sewell. I can't. Y'all, clap it out, Chelsea. Clap it out, okay? Let's see, okay, here we go. Clap it out, clap it out, clap it out. Who else do you have on this list? You have, Creed Humphrey, and then you have some honorable mentions. Is that Jared Allen? Some of these names I can't read because I'm blind. But let's just get into the main ones that they have on the list. Did they have Derrick? Yeah, they put Derrick Henry on there. Man, that one kind of... you said Dan Marino. Mine, okay, obviously I talk about Josh Allen. I'm like, in a way, I don't want him to win a Super Bowl because I just want him to be one of those quarterbacks who is outstanding but just never wins a Super Bowl. I don't usually, I don't wish bad on him. If he wins a Super Bowl, that's fine. But if he doesn't, I'm okay with him just being somebody who was an outstanding quarterback but just never won a Super Bowl. So shout out to Pooh Man for sending me this. Derrick Henry, oh man, so badly I want a Super Bowl for Lamar Jackson. And where is Derrick Henry? Derrick Henry is now with the Ravens, so I want so badly for them to get a Super Bowl. I would love that for them. Justin Jefferson, y'all, I have a hot take on Justin Jefferson. Like, I know people still rank him high as a wide receiver, and I get that they had quarterback issues last season, and that factored into why his stats were the way they was. Like, of course I take that into consideration, but I don't put him top. Like, I can't put him as the top wide receiver right now. Just based off how things went. Like, he's still talented, no doubt, but I do drop him a little bit. George Kittle, I didn't think about George Kittle. Let's see, who else? Obviously, I mean, Barry Sanders, that's a given. Yeah, I'm surprised that, do they have T.O. on here? I thought I seen Terrell Owens as like a, I don't think Terrell Owens ever won a Super Bowl. I feel like Terrell Owens should be on this. So for wide receivers, they had Justin Jefferson and Calvin Johnson. I would honestly replace Justin Jefferson with, I don't know. I guess you can't because they're going off current and past. Yeah, G Honda, no Terrell Owens or Randy Moss, even Julio Jones. It's like, I don't know. This one I have difficulty with. Anyways, there we go. I love these. And Pooh Man just sent me another one. We're going to discuss that one tomorrow. But shout out to Pooh Man. Okay, I wanted to get into college football. Let's see. We covered the SEC schedule yesterday, so we're going to get into the Big Ten.
Now, the Big Ten is a slightly different flavor of difficulty when compared to the SEC. The SEC is really, really deep and super physical. The Big Ten offers geography, altitude, cross-country flights, top 5 road environments, and a couple of teams that are stacked at the top who can beat you by 2 touchdowns if your execution slips for just a series or 2. I mean, 4 teams, I think, though, drew the worst of it. And the first one, I think, might be the best team in the league. It's Ohio State. Now, most preseason polls will be out here at some point in the next couple weeks. And Ohio State, according to many, will be the #1 team in the country, understandably. But I think you can make a strong case that this is the hardest schedule that Ryan Day has ever had to coach in Columbus. And it is a peculiar tax for being great. You're at the pinnacle. You're churning out first rounders. You got Julian Sayin back at quarterback. Jeremiah Smith's out there on the outside. And the schedule makers are like, perfect. All right, sounds good. You got all that. Here's a minefield. Okay. The road schedule is where this thing turns into a bit of survival test, right? And here's the number that separates this slate from everyone else's. No other team in America has 2 road games against teams that are this good. The Buckeyes go to Texas, right? They go to the defending national champion, Indiana. They also go to USC.
Ohio State, let's look at their schedule, y'all. The Ohio State Buckeyes, as Derek likes to say. But you have Texas, y'all know that's the game I'm interested in. Illinois, I see. I don't know with the Big Ten. Like, I see Michigan, like Oregon, USC, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like, it's different when you're comparing it to the SEC. Like, when you look at the SEC schedule, you're like, dang, that's a ton of tough teams. But with this, it's like, I'm lost. Like, I don't know the Big Ten like that. Like, I know the notable ones, but it's like, what do you consider like a difficult team? It's not like what you get with the SEC, where it's a loaded conference. Oh man, it's like, I don't know, like Maryland, is Maryland even? I haven't even heard nobody mention Maryland. I mean, I guess Iowa, I don't know. Illinois, I don't know. The only ones I see, Texas, USC, Oregon, and Michigan. Oh, and Indiana. because Indiana's now like on that list since they are coming off a national championship, but it's difficult to maintain the success from a previous national championship. So I'm interested to see what that talent looks like with Indiana. I know that they recruited a 5-star wide receiver, I think. So they're getting talent. And you know, they have great coaching. So we'll see what happens with Indiana. The quarterback position, that's a question, but like, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I think of that's difficult for Ohio State is Texas, Indiana, I guess, USC, Oregon, Michigan. Like, that's the only ones I could think is difficult. To me, it looks easy. To me, it looks like an easy schedule. I mean, I guess for them, this is what's considered a difficult schedule when it comes to the Big Ten. But they helping Ryan Day big time. I mean, there's just not, and people talk about this all the time, but there's just not, you know, top talent from every school like there is in the SEC. So anyways, it's just different.
They play at Iowa, and we know Kinnick is a place, I mean, that place eats visitors for a living, right? And then for variety, why not? They host Oregon, they host Michigan. And that's potentially a half dozen games against ranked competition. 2 of them are on the road against the field's other title favorites. So Ohio State is good enough to run the table. The schedule guarantees they'll have to earn the #1 seed against the toughest field any Buckeye team has faced in years. Now, Michigan, on the other side of that rivalry, they're walking into a buzzsaw as well. I mean, Kyle Whittingham is 66 years old, thereabouts, right? He won 177 games in his 21 years at Utah. He had a perfect season in 2008, and he's one of the most respected coaches of his generation. He was going to retire, and then he decides to unretire. He takes the Michigan job, and this is what the schedule handed to him for his trouble. The Wolverines, they have to go on the road.
Michigan, that's the one I got my eyes on. I ain't gonna lie. After all the Michigan trouble that they have, and I start the blame with Harbaugh. Y'all know that I don't like Jim Harbaugh because he really brought on a lot of the problems that Michigan faced. Starting with the recruiting scandal, the sign stealing, he had to miss a few games because of cheating, and then he cheated his way to the top of a national championship. He knew he could get a job in the NFL if the NCAA was to put a show cause on him. Sure enough, that's what happened. Y'all, I predicted this too, by the way. I was like, watch. He's on the hot seat, so he's going to cheat his way to the top. He knows he can get a job in the NFL, so that's what he's going to do, cheat his way to the top, and then once NCAA puts a show cause on him, it won't even matter because he'll be in the NFL. And that's what happened. 10-year show cause put on Jim Harbaugh, which means Jim Harbaugh cannot return to college football as a head coach until that show cause is up. What else did you have? You had fines. I can't remember. They also had recruiting limitations as well. There's just a lot. Well, then you fast forward, and then you had that other head coaching scandal. Now, I'm not going to get into that. Y'all know I've covered that plenty of times, but that had an impact. And I think that was calculated. I think they wanted him gone because so many coaches have cheating scandals, and I just think that was purposely done. They wanted him out. They wanted to get rid of a lot of the staff that Jim Harbaugh had that caused all these other issues. So now, fast forward to where we're at now. So I'm interested to see how it goes for Michigan. But you have Oklahoma. That's a tough game. Penn State, I guess. Indiana. Michigan State, that you can't count that game out. Isn't Rutgers good? Oregon, I know, is good. I mean, I don't know what UCLA has. I know that they had a great women's basketball team, but I don't know what UCLA has for the football team. Did they still have that quarterback from Tennessee? Ohio State, I guess, yeah, you would consider this a difficult schedule for Michigan. Sign stealing, didn't DeBoer do the same a while back? It got swept under the table? No. What are you talking about? I'm telling you, that would not get swept under the table, G Honda. That, you would have whistleblowers. You would have, like, they're not letting anything like that slide, okay? And clearly that's the case because they didn't let it slide with Jim Harbaugh. Nah, it's rare you get away with something like that. But no, there was nothing about that.
And played two of the best teams in the country at Ohio State and at Oregon. Not one of them, both of them. Both are on the road. Then, just to make sure that the point lands, they host Indiana, the defending champs.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've heard a few notable names. Obviously, Arch Manning being one. Levitt from LSU. Who else? The Texas A&M quarterback, I think I heard about, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. They always say these things, and I'm just like, well, I'm going to wait till the cleats hit the turf, and I see them in an NFL offensive scheme, like how that works out for them.
Draw Oklahoma out of conference in the Big House. Penn State also comes to Ann Arbor. Iowa comes to Ann Arbor as well. And we're super optimistic about Kyle Whittingham. We're super optimistic about the growth that we're anticipating from Bryce Underwood. But it is still a bit of a program in transition. And look, you do have the game September 5th against Western Michigan before the sky falls in. It gets very, very difficult. I've seen a lot of first-year head coaches inherit very tough draws. And I'm not sure I've seen a first-year head coach inherit road trips to both of the sports title favorites in the same November. So there's a schedule that will tell us who Michigan actually is by the end of November, and it will not be gentle about the answer. I also want to introduce Oregon here as well, because I think they're the third one here in the Big Ten, and they're a real playoff contender.
I love
and
Dan Lanning. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's a wonderful head coach. I know he gets a lot of grief because of him not making it all the way, but yet recruiting talent, similar to what you see with Sarkisian. But nevertheless, he's still a talented coach, and I feel like you have to be a little bit more compassionate and lenient on these head coaches because college football isn't what it once was. So, I mean, but people don't have grace and understanding. That's why we have the coaching carousel.
Everybody back, there's so much to love about the Ducks, but it is a nasty road that they have to run. They have arguably, according to some publications, the second hardest schedule in the Big Ten. And Dan Lanning, they benefited from a slightly more manageable conference slate last year.
Let's see what I think. Oklahoma State, I guess you would consider Boise State. I mean, they typically have a good program. I don't know how it is in recent years. You got USC, UCLA. I mean, isn't Nebraska considered a decent team? We played Nebraska, was it last year in the opening or the year before? I don't know. We played Nebraska at one point in time. Illinois, I don't know. Ohio State, Michigan State, Washington, yeah, I guess you would consider that difficult. To me, it's nothing like the SEC, though. It's not SEC difficult.
Here. And that check came due because not only are Washington and USC back on the schedule, you also add Ohio State and Michigan. The Ducks go on the road to Ohio State November 7th. They go on the road to USC in September. And that's the Coliseum and the Horseshoe in the same season. That's two of the loudest zip codes in the sport. And Oregon's got to go and try to win both. And they've also got a non-conference trip to Oklahoma State that could be really interesting. Look, Eric Morris, everyone he's bringing from North Texas to the Cowboys, I mean, they could maybe be a surprise team out of the Big 12. So Michigan and Washington Both have to come to Autzen, which is the one mercy here because Autzen, with a lead, is one of the toughest, most hostile home advantages in the country. But make no mistake, the road half of the schedule is going to be very, very difficult. And if the hopes are to get a playoff bye, well, it could die knowing some of those road trips that the Ducks are going to have to make throughout the year. The last one is USC, which brings us to a take on this show. And look, I want to double down. Look, I think what's amazing about this schedule is SC's home schedule is a bit of a gift, but their road schedule is a bit of a coffin, right? Look at what the Trojans get inside the Coliseum. They host Ohio State, they host Oregon. Two Big Ten Titans, both in Los Angeles, both games where the crowd and the travel work in favor of the Trojans. That's a gift. Two of the best teams in the Big Ten both got to fly to LA, and USC gets to kind of sit at home and wait for them.
USC's schedule here. Oregon, Washington, Penn State, Ohio State, Indiana. I don't know. That USC one looks the most difficult. I don't know.
Then you flip to the road slate, and that's where the temperature drops. You're at Indiana, at Penn State, at Wisconsin, at UCLA, at Rutgers. So you're going to sit there and say, well, some of those teams aren't very good, but just compounding the sheer travel could take its toll on the team. That's 4 cross-country flights. Obviously, no flight involved in the road trip to UCLA. So it doesn't necessarily matter which game it is. Can you be at your best with that much travel on a week-in, week-out basis? I don't know. Look, I love Lincoln Riley's quarterback, Jaden Mayaba. I think he's amazing. And on paper, I think USC has the pieces to really make a run. And I'll say what I've been saying all spring. Until this staff goes on the road in November and takes care of business against the top-tier opponents at home, well, we're still going to be a little bit concerned, right? The home schedule can get them to 8 wins. We know that. But the road schedule is the one that decides whether or not they get to 10. And if they get to 10, they're probably in the playoff. So that's the goal for SC this year, to break through and to crash the playoff party. And if you look at some of the hardest schedules in the conference, man, I mean, the Big Ten, there's 2 little pieces of color I want to add here as well. And if you look at Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, SC, whatever, all those are very difficult, right? And it's a little similar to what we talked about with Arkansas a moment ago in the SEC. Well, look at Purdue's schedule. Purdue has to go to Indiana. They host Notre Dame. They have Penn State and Iowa on the road. They might not win a conference game, which
that was interesting to me.
The dark comedy of the sport, and the toughest slate in the league can land on a team that is least equipped to survive it. Northwestern, by the way, is not far behind. They're the only team in America that has to play Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State all on the road. 3 potential top 5 teams, 0 home dates against them, multi-touchdown underdogs in all 3. And then the irony that kind of ties the whole thing together, the defending champion Indiana, I think they actually have a relatively manageable path. If you look at it, you got cushy non-conference slate, no Oregon on the schedule, a pile of winnable early games before November's stretch starts to show its teeth. And Kurt Cignetti, I mean, he didn't just reload the roster after a title, he reloaded it, and the schedule gods also handed them a bit of a favorable map to defend it. And like I said,
I didn't think about that. Like I talked earlier about how Indiana recruited some top talent. You know, I wasn't familiar with what their roster looked like. I know they lost Mendoza. I don't know what the quarterback situation. That's going to be my question, is the quarterback situation, right? But with what Greg McElroy is saying here, if that's true, it's like, man, you know, maybe Indiana can possibly run it back. This is, y'all, I swear, I said this before. I look at college football differently now after the NCAA allowed the transfer portal, allowed NIL, allowed like all these different changes. And I called it from the start. When I first heard the news that they were going to open the portal and do all these things, I said, hey, this is a tactic to prevent another SEC national championship, because, you know, you had 2 Georgia versus Alabama national championships, and, you know, you had consistently more SEC national championships. So I said, hey, this is a tactic to get the Big Ten back in it. Sure enough, the past 3 years, that's all we've seen is the Big Ten. So I have big questions. I'm like, hey, if I see another Big Ten national championship, something ain't right here. Like, you cannot say that the playing field has been leveled when all you're getting is the Big Ten national championships. And y'all, take this with a grain of salt, because again, I get it. It's like, obviously I'm an SEC fan. I loved watching all of the SEC national championships that happened throughout the years. And then I get why they had to make a change, because they needed to get other conferences incorporated in it. So it's just, I would say it's the Big Ten's turn, right? That doesn't mean I want to see it all the time, right? But I get it. Like, I get it. From a business standpoint, I get it. Derek said, boo! But yes, I am talking about the Big Ten, Derek. I'll play your drop in a second. I think this video is basically over with almost.
More about them here in the upcoming episodes, because we will do manageable schedules just a couple days
Okay, I need to
from
look
now.
into the one he did on the manageable schedules. But Derek, shout out to you. Let's play your drop since you were in the building. And then we'll get back to the topic of the Big Ten.
Leave Chelsea alone. What's wrong with you, G-Hunter? I'm the one who's telling you about your fantasy. Listen. Send me your address so I can send you a rainbow flag. Since you want to look like Alicia Keys. That's okay, man. You can't even grow. You can't even grow enough hair. Okay? I'm not accustomed to a man wanting to look like a woman. And you too dark to look like her. Why don't you? You know what? You look like a good Jennifer Hudson. That's what you would look like.
Love you, Derek, for that. But let's get back into this Big Ten topic. You said it's better than Bama in the championship. Derek, y'all, like, obviously I want to see Bama in the national championship, but I get it. I get why the NCAA had to make these changes to get the Big Ten back in it, to get these other conferences back in it, to give them a chance. I get why the NCAA made these changes. It's just, I don't know. I feel like the SEC is starting to see what they're up to with this, because that's why there's been talks of the SEC breaking away from the NCAA. Do I think that will play out and happen? No. But do I want it to happen? I do. I would love for the SEC to break away from the NCAA. After they opened the transfer portal, after they did the NIL deals, and y'all know I'm not against the players getting paid. I 100% think that they should get paid, but there does need to be more like restrictions and rules on things like you have in the NFL, because you have these players acting reckless now, and I'm like, that's the part where I don't agree with it, but it's benefited the Big Ten. So I wouldn't mind that if the SEC was to break away. I would love an all SEC schedule. I would love an SEC only championship. Just, stay away from these other conferences, because at the end of the day, the talent, the schedule is just stacked when it comes to the SEC versus the Big Ten conference. Like, you have numerous teams that are dangerous. Like, you have LSU, Texas A&M, you have Florida, you have Alabama, you have Texas now, like top schools like that you're constantly contending against, and the Big Ten really doesn't have that. Like, the notable ones that you know of is Ohio State, Michigan, and now you can add Indiana in the mix. I guess you can't count out Penn State. What's another one? I feel like I'm leaving another one off. But those are the top ones that come to my mind off the bat. And, like, I just named way more with the SEC than I can with the Big Ten. Because it's like, it's just so stacked. And nobody has argued that. No analyst has argued against that. It's going to be interesting how it plays out. Let's see. I think I covered everything that I wanted to discuss. There's things that I want to get into from the Discord, but I'll probably save that for tomorrow. So I'm going to get off here, get me something to eat. CDT Beats will be live at 8, so make sure y'all are there. And I will catch you in the next one, Touchdown Tribe. Oh, wait. I was ready to get off here, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. But let me play the closing motivational video.
The consistency of work. Monday, get better. Tuesday, get better. Wednesday, get better, right? And you do that over a period of time, not like 1 month or 2 months. I mean, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And then you can get to where you want to go.
There we go. Coach Chelsea, I dropped some more questions for you in the Discord. Shout out to you, Pooh Man. I will cover those tomorrow. I really enjoyed the questions like that, so I'm glad that you find those for me. So shout out to you, Pooh Man, greatest mod in the YouTube streets. But y'all, I'm hungry. It's time for me to go get some food and then enjoy CDT Beats later tonight at 8 o'clock. So I will catch you in the next one, Touchdown Tribe. Bye, guys.